What is up, you beautiful bastards? It is 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means only one thing, that Late Night with Take 3 is live. Mark the calendars. We are actually on time. Normally we are either early or late, but today we decided to try this new thing about actually being on time. We have a stacked panel today of the cool kids from Take 3. Starting off first, the producer, the man behind the scenes, the news gatherer himself, Malcolm Lay. Malcolm, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good and really pumped for a special guest we've got on today.
Yes, we do have special guests, but before that, I have to get to my fellow Canadian. You can find him as the essentially the commissioner of Full Metal Media. That is the Sandman, Sandy Robinson. Sandy, how are we doing today?
Brooklyn, I am doing great. I'm going to correct you. There is no commissioner. I am just there to help and facilitate as many matches as I possibly can. So everybody's pulling their weight. But I am also excited today. But I'm always excited for Thursday on Late Night with Take 3, and I think that this is going to be just as fun as it always is, if not more so.
Making his return to Late Night with Take 3 since. Last time he was on here, it was actually the very first episode that I took over. That is the Hobbit, Robert Parker. Robert, how are we doing today?
Yeah, it's been a really, really long time, but I am very happy to make my glorious, hopefully glorious return, and I'm also really excited for this whole panel. Yeah, it's really great to be back on for this episode.
All right, next up, we have the defending Late Night with Take 3 mini speed round. Oh, wait, no. Sorry. Sorry, Cody. Cody, how you doing today, buddy? I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to compliment you that it's like it was my birthday, and you brought on a panel person that I get to interview that I'm really a big fan of, but then you have to be a dickhead like other people from Canada. But I'm excited. Not you, Sandy. It's never about you. You know this. It's always about Brooklyn because, damn, no one likes him. But I'm really excited. This is going to be a great panel, and I promise to win my belt back tonight.
Alrighty, and the actual reigning Late Night with Take 3 mini speed round debate champion of the world Full Metal and Multiplex fan trivia community of the world, Matt Knost. He is no longer the bridesmaid. He lost the title last week. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I mean, listen, guys, I know you're all excited that MK is here, but Matt Knost is always here. He's here like every week, so it's okay. It's okay, Cody. I know. Listen, I know it's hard to bask in the presence of a champion. But just try to work through it, okay? Okay, it's okay. Just talk through it, buddy. But the champ is here, okay?
All right, and last but definitely not least, he is the former Movie Trivia Schmoedown Tag Team Champion of the world. You can find him on the Top 10 show with John Roca. You can find him on Collider Sports Talk on Mondays, taking some time out of his very busy schedule today. Please give a warm round of applause for Mr. Matt Knost. Matt, how you doing today? How's your day been so far?
It's good. Thank you for having me. Question one, is the picture that comes up, I'm assuming it's the one that's associated with my Google account?
It's actually blank. It's nothing.
It's a blank avatar.
It's blank for us, yeah.
Blank avatar.
Oh, okay. All right. Because it flashed up a picture from 12 years ago, and I was like, oh, I don't look like that anymore.
Yeah, it's from your Google account.
Matt Knost, we got to work on your shit talking, man. That was sad.
Yeah, eat it, Matt.
Oh, my God.
There was no conviction in your voice whatsoever. You were like, hey, reigning champ here. It's like, God damn it, man. It's still
trying to be nice. Would you? I mean, I could attack Cody if you want me to. I could talk about the fact that I made his wife unfulfilled last week because Cody was just crying in the corner because he lost to me.
Alrighty, kids, let's get right into it. At the beginning of every show, as of recently, we like to do a little bit of warm-up game just to get the spirits going, get the juices flowing. So we are going to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, and I'll get the champion Matt Knost to explain the rules.
Okay, so the rules of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon are pretty easy. How they work is the person who starts will name an actor in a film with another actor. For example, Tom Cruise was in Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. Then Sandy would have to say Dustin Hoffman was in a film with another actor. Once a film and actor is used, it can no longer be played again. For example, you can't say Dustin Hoffman. I'm trying to figure my way back to Tom Cruise, but regardless, once in the round Tom Cruise is played, can't be played again. Franchises, you can only use one of. You can only use one Star Wars, one Star Trek, etc. Marvel will allow it to expand to where if you use Doctor Strange, you can still use one of the Iron Man movies, but once an Iron Man movie is used, you can't use Iron Man 1 and then later on use Iron Man 3, for example. Now, the reason why it's called 6 Years of Kevin Bacon, if by some chance you're able to figure Kevin Bacon into your round, you get a life save. We've never really figured out a correct term, which pretty much means if you would have been out of the round, you have to come back in. However, if you're starting the round, you can't start with Kevin Bacon. That's just a cheat. That's pretty much it.
All right. So the order is going to go as such, the way I see it on my screen. So Cody, you are going to start. You are going to ask Knost, and then Knost is going to ask Kearns. Kearns is going to ask Robert. Robert is going to ask Sandy. Sandy is going to ask Malcolm. Malcolm is going to ask me, and then it goes right back to me asking Cody. So Cody, without further ado, let's kick it off.
Well, I'm guaranteed not to stump the person I'm asking. So, I'm going to say George Clooney was in Ocean's 11 with Brad Pitt.
Okay, so then I choose any Brad Pitt movie and then figure out another actor that he was in, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, easy peasy. Let's see, how obscure do we want to go? You know, that's the real question here.
Your goal is to get Kearns out.
Dick moves are more than welcome.
All right, well, I guess we probably shouldn't start with the dick move on the second move. So we'll do Brad Pitt was in Spy Game with Robert Redford.
Robert Redford was in All the President's Men with Robert Redford.
He can't be in
You
it
just
together.
said it. Wait.
Robert, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, Robert Redford can't be in All the President's Men with Robert Redford.
Robert Redford.
Oh, what? Dustin
okay,
Hoffman,
bud?
I meant. Okay.
All right. So, well, congratulations, Matt. You are eliminated.
Oh, shut up,
unfortunately.
Brooklyn.
well, we tried. We tried.
That championship was short-lived.
Well, and no, but that doesn't get contested. No, that Robert gets to start fresh asking Sandy.
Start fresh with anything, right?
Anything.
Yeah.
All right, that's a lot of everything. All right, we'll just say Zoe Saldana was in Avatar with Sam Worthington.
Okay, Sam Worthington was in Terminator Salvation with, who do I pick out of that? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Twins with Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. Oh, it's you. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Sorry. Danny DeVito was in Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer.
That's what I was going to go with. Okay. Michelle Pfeiffer was in What Lies Beneath with Harrison Ford.
All right. Let's see which to choose from. All right, fine. Harrison Ford was in Star Wars with Mark Hamill. Good luck.
Sure. So Mark Hamill was in Batman: Mask of the Phantasm with Kevin Conroy.
Oh man! Oh wow!
I have one.
Wow.
And I can't use another Batman.
Here's another
animated.
Batman. No
Oh
more
yeah,
Batman.
you can use another.
No, that's
Now I can't because there's
Batman's out.
because there was no sequel. No, yeah, I guess. Yeah. No.
Kevin. Oh, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just throw it out there. Kevin Conroy was some voice in Transformers the movie.
I'm checking on that right now. Wait, with
who?
one? Yeah.
There's only one Transformers the movie.
I think it means the original 86 one.
There's only one.
That key.
What is this? The new? What was it? What do you guys always try to throw into movies? Who is it?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah. Every time.
I'm going to guarantee you, Matt, that Kevin Conroy is not in Transformers 86.
I just looked up Kevin Conroy Transformers movie, and there's nothing popping up.
All right, so that means that Sandy is eliminated, which means that Malcolm gets to start fresh.
That's so dirty.
That was
I like that getting dirty. I like it when you try to take it out.
I'll go start from an easy one. Mike Myers was in Austin Powers International Man of Mystery with Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell was in... How obscure do I want to go? Will Ferrell was in The Campaign with Jason Sudeikis.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis was in We Are the Millers with Jennifer Aniston.
All right. Jennifer Aniston was in Horrible Bosses with Jason Bateman.
Nice.
Okay. Let's see. Jason Bateman was in Game Night with Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, I could answer this one.
Rachel McAdams was in Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan was in Freaky Friday with Mark Harmon. I think that's his name.
I will check on that.
I'm pretty sure that's his name. Mark Harmon. He plays Jamie Lee Curtis's fiance. He's also it's the lead actor from NCIS.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yep, Mark Herman. Yep, that's correct. My whole job once I get out is to just find IMDb and make sure people are wrong.
Oh, what else has he been in besides TV? Brooklyn, I told you to be nice, and you're being a dick.
Did I do that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god, good luck, man. I'm looking at his IMDb.
Yeah, I've got one lined up. Come on, this isn't difficult.
Okay, Matt. Listen.
I know which one. I think
I'm a really big fan. Let's not try to be mean to me. I'm trying here.
You do not. There is no try.
You can count me down. I'm out. I have nothing.
All right. So Cody is eliminated.
Oh, damn it. Free and Loathing in Las Vegas. Okay, no mind. Go ahead.
All right, so that means that Knost gets to start fresh, and he is asking Robert. He's Knost, Robert, Malcolm, and myself.
Stump him.
Okay. Al Pacino is in Heat with Val Kilmer.
Okay, Val Kilmer was in Batman Forever with Debbie Mazar.
Oh,
God, Rob!
This is my first time back in months.
we may be going to be enemies of movie Battleground, but you didn't have to be mean about it. I'm
Guess who's not coming
out.
back on the show anytime soon? Robert Parker.
I'm out.
Okay, cool. So Malcolm is out, which means that I get to start fresh, and I get to ask Matt Knost. So I am going to go with the following. Okay, so Daniel Radcliffe was in The F Word with Adam Driver.
Adam Driver was in Logan Lucky with Channing Tatum.
Nice.
Channing Tatum was in Magic Mike with Joe Manganiello.
Nice.
Joe Manganiello was in Spider-Man with Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, son of a gun. Why am I blanking on Kirsten Dunst, of all people? Oh, Kirsten Dunst was in Interview with a Vampire with, we've already used him. Oh, shit. I just backed myself into a corner.
Oh, no,
we used
no,
the
no.
first
It's
one.
a new round, so everyone.
Everything is cleared up.
Rounds is in play then.
Okay, Tom Cruise then.
Sure. Tom Cruise was in Mission Impossible Fallout with Rebecca Ferguson.
Fuck you. Rebecca Ferguson was in I don't know. P.S. I Love You with Richard Dreyfuss. I have no idea.
What
no.
the?
Greatest
You're
Showman,
a
man.
jackass.
Never seen The Greatest Showman.
Brooklyn just
Why
had.
do you keep
Hey,
saying P.S. I Love You and Richard Dreyfuss? I think you have some problems.
because one day Richard Dreyfuss. Wow, she was in Hercules with The Rock. Oh my God.
All right. Okay, so that means that when I'm eliminated, which means Knost gets to start fresh and he gets to ask Robert. So.
All right. Meg Ryan was in When Harry Met Sally with Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal was in The Princess Bride with.
An actor.
I'm sorry, with Andre the Giant.
What the actual hell?
I mean, is that his official acting name? Are we going to accept that, guys? Was it?
I don't know. I'm gonna check.
That was his state.
I'm gonna check.
Actually, he's embarrassing us, and we're just going to kick him off the stream right now.
I'm
Don't be a
checking
dick.
this right now. If he pops up on IMDb as Andre the Giant,
He
it'll
is,
be fair.
he
If
comes
not,
up as Andre the Giant.
I believe that was his
That's-
credited name in the movie. If not, I'll totally accept the loss there. But
no. Actually, you lucked out this time. He was credited on IMDb as Andre the Giant. So you win this round, Rob. You're lucky that we're not playing shenanigans, or you'd be screwed.
I would have been lost a long time ago for playing shenanigans.
That's true.
That's a different.
Was Andre in anything else? I can't think of another thing. So I got. Shit! No, he wasn't in that. I was thinking of that picture of him with Will Chamberlain and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that was on set. No, I got nothing.
Yeah, he wasn't in Conan. He was just visiting the set.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that means that Robert Parker is the winner today of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. His first return in quite a bit. But that means that we are going to move on to, I guess, it isn't really a part, but it's just more so an interview. So our special guest today is Matt Knost. He is a competitor in. For those of you who don't know, which I will be very, very surprised if you do not know, but he is a competitor in the movie Schmoedown. He is a teammate with John Roca in the form of Top 10. He was also recently a teammate with William Viviani in Cinemaniac in the Ultimate Schmoedown Anarchy. You can also find him, like I said previously, on the Top 10 show. It's a podcast that runs on Tuesdays with the Schmoes Know podcast feed on iTunes and various other podcast sites. So the first question I have for you, Matt Knost, is I actually don't know. I've never heard it personally, but maybe other people have. How did you and John Roca end up meeting, and how did the Top 10 show come to be?
So I've known Ellis and Christian. Ellis I've known for 16 years, 17 years, something like that. And then Christian I've probably known for 12 years. I have longer than that, probably 15 years. And they came to me one day and said, "Hey, we want to do this show. We want you to be a part of it." And they had me meet with a couple different people, and then the third person I met with was John, and we just clicked and decided to move forward from there. So it was kind of they knew somebody. And they thought would be good after, the other individuals didn't really work out for scheduling and also for chemistry reasons. It just wasn't meant to be, obviously. And then John and I sat down for coffee with the two of them, shot the shit for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and decided why not give it a try. And, been doing it ever since.
Yeah. All right. So my other question for you, and then I'll open it up to the panel, or it's sort of a two-part question, but they're shorter answers. What has been your favorite episode so far that you guys have done, and like considering like the announcement that you made on Tuesday that you're doing a live show in London, if you were to tell yourself like whenever you first started the show, hey, you're gonna eventually be traveling the world to do the show, what would you have said?
Well, as far as a favorite show, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. As soon as we finished recording, I forget about 90% of what was said. I don't know if that's age or if it's just we've done so many of these that they all bleed together. I know the hardest I've laughed was when John talked about that girl that he dated that believed the moon was hollow and there's a subterranean race of people that live beneath the Earth's mantle. I laughed my ass off at that because the duality of that kind of crazy in one person is pretty impressive. As far as like traveling the world, no, I can't. When we started this, I never thought that there would be any kind of market to listen to two guys they've never met talk about something they didn't create and it actually be successful. But since then, slowly but surely, our first week that we put out, I think we had like 9 listeners for an entire week. That was all the downloads, streams, everything else. It was something like, it was 9, maybe 12. And to go incrementally, just keep growing, keep putting out, sticking to a schedule. You don't miss a week. You put out a show each and every week. You keep working. And the fact that now we're going to London and then traveling around the U.S. and hopefully other international cities and countries beyond there is astounding, to say the very least.
All right, cool. So I am going to open it up to the panel. Cody has his hand raised, so I'll let him go first.
So my question's a little bit more personal. Brooklyn did not mention now my new favorite show probably on the podcast, which is Dropping Dimes, where you guys talk about basketball. That's one of my favorite parts of Top 10 when you guys used to just break down basketball, because you and John have such a. I'm glad you guys did Collider Sports Time, because it's just perfect how you guys bounce off each other with sports. It just works perfectly. But my question is, I know you're a big Chicago Bulls fan. Like, besides them, like, what other athlete, like, in the NBA were you drawn to growing up besides the Bulls?
Besides Jordan?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's who drew me into the Bulls, and I'm still a Bulls fan to this day, just because it's Michael Jordan. Charles Barkley was probably the next biggest. And then after that, like all the bigs, who didn't love like watching Dominique? I hate Isaiah Thomas and any Detroit Piston. I'm not a fan in the slightest. If Bill Laimbeer ended up with a terminal illness tomorrow, there's a barbecue at my house hours later. Dominique, I loved it. Showtime Lakers, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing. There was so much growing up that I loved, and then it carried me through, like, the 90s when the Bulls were winning all those championships through to today. Right now, it's the best the NBA's been since the late 80s, early 90s. Just a plethora of interesting people and storylines, and it's nice to see smaller market cities doing well. It's not like it's baseball or something where you have to be in a huge market to be in serious contention every year, because of salary cap and the fact that they share all the money between them on the TV contracts and whatnot. But basketball is always, since I was a little kid, it's been my favorite sport. I watch it every year. It's the only sport that I genuinely look forward to. And I mean, it's nice now when I get home on certain nights and I legitimately get to turn to my wife and be like, babe, I'm sorry. I have to watch basketball. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
All right. Mr. Kearns.
So one of my favorite podcasts, Matt, is the Cinephiles, and you had a great episode with John and Steve. I was just wondering, if you could choose any movie to bring on and do another episode with John and Steve for the Cinephiles, what movie would you want to talk about?
Well, they asked if I wanted to do White Men Can't Jump, so that may or may not happen. That's certainly one of them. Fletch is my all-time favorite movie, even though that probably doesn't rate in most people's top hundreds.
No, I love
so
it.
I would probably,
Awesome.
There you go. Me and Sandy, right there.
Yep.
That's an international connection. Where are you, New Zealand? You son of a bitch. But yeah, probably Fletch would be my all-time, just because it's my favorite movie. I've seen it more than any other. I've worn out 2 VHS copies. I own it on DVD. It's basically the only DVD that I own at this point.
I'm surprised you wouldn't pick Armageddon for your next Cinephiles episode. I know you're a big
We've
time.
already done it an episode, and it was amazing.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sure it was. Well, yeah, fucking, that's ridiculous.
All right. Anybody else? Malcolm.
Who's your favorite person to team up with in the Schmoedown, John or Bibbs?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, John and I have done 15 or some ridiculous number of those, so it's clearly Roca, but I definitely had fun with Bibbs. I mean, the fact that they would choreograph stuff and not even get a hold of me, which is perfect, because I want no part of that shit. No. The idea of buying costumes and showing up like, I'm an adult. I'm not. I'll do it for my nephew who's 5 for Halloween, but I'm not doing it for a 45-year-old man because he's got a great, beach blanket bingo theme. It's not fucking happening.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Sandy.
Hey Matt. Okay, so my question for you is once again, it's gonna involve John Roca again, but it's more for your take. You obviously have a really great personality, and you're really funny and stuff like that. John's personality can get pretty intense. How do you, when John's like that, how do you deal with him on a personal level when he's that fired up and that intense?
Do you have like a specific example or just a general state is what you're asking about?
Just when John gets as fired up as he does, how do you interact with him when he's like that?
Well, do you have anybody like that in your life that just can get, can get that intense about things?
Yeah, there's a couple people on this chat right now, so.
Well, my go-to is, lest they're being, a terrible person when they say it, just let them say their piece because they want to get this off their chest. It's cathartic, so let them go. So if John gets to a boil, we'll let it boil over, and eventually the water will settle. So just allow him to do what he does and kind of roll with the punches, interact with it as it comes, and move forward.
Perfect. Awesome.
Cool. Robert?
Yeah, so obviously you recently did your first live event in LA and for the Top 10 show, and you were talking about going abroad, going other places in the US. What was your favorite part of the live event in LA, and then what are you most looking forward to about visiting different cities?
Favorite part easily was just interacting with the people that came out. There was one gentleman that flew down from Toronto, another couple drove in from Colorado, had one guy fly in from New York, and then tons of people just from the surrounding area. But to hear all their stories, to find out what their connection to the show meant and to us, because we're just talking into mics and staring at one another. So I don't know how people experience it. I don't have any understanding of the resonance that it may or may not have for them. So to crystallize that in front of you and see and hear the stories of like the guy that flew in from New York is like, I listen to it because I drive around all day and it's kind of nice because I feel like I'm hanging out with a couple of my friends, which is a hell of a compliment. So to get feedback on a personal level like that was it meant more and will have a longer lasting effect than the actual show itself, because that one I will remember. But I stopped counting at 2,000 stand-up shows. I don't know how many I've done at this point. So performing on that level is fine. That's old hat to me. But seeing, something that I put out into the world actually mean something to someone else will have a lot more longer lasting impact than anything else.
Gotcha.
I have one last question, and then we'll get right into it. This is a pretty straightforward one. I asked
you get as many questions as you want. Is that how this works?
Yeah, that's how this effing works, Matt. If you would like to sign a petition, we would all like equal.
It's already created. The petition is there.
But Brooklyn already had to guess 2.
Okay,
but we, the lowly peasants, get to ask.
Okay.
Cody, is that actually how you spell your last name? Because it comes up on my screen as
No.
Burr. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what nationality that would be other than Bear.
It's actually pretty easy. It's actually Newberry. But the funny thing was, I was trying to create one because I got into this community, and Newberry was taken. Newberry with 2 Y's was taken. Newberry with 3 Y's were taken, and like 4. And I was like supposed to be on a call in like 5 minutes. So I just like deleted and then typed, and that's what came up. And Brooklyn likes to give me shit for it, but he can't say late night with Take 3 cohesively back-to-back weeks. So he's a fucking idiot.
He's not wrong. But the question that I did have, I asked Mark Ellis this question, and he said there was a certain special by Chris Rock. But the question I have for you is, since you are a stand-up comedian, what is the one comedy special everybody needs to listen to before they die?
Well, I don't know if there's one particular one. I mean, Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious is what turned me on to stand-up comedy when I was a kid. I probably shouldn't have seen it at the age I did. And
Nice.
I still
That was
knew
mine
in
too.
my head certain Eddie Murphyisms. When something, if something bad befalls someone, I sing the nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You had to do something. Motherfucker punched you in the mouth. I sing that in my head. But go back and listen to Brian Regan's first live album. Dave Chappelle's first half-hour special is fantastic. It's live from, I want to say, San Francisco, and the amount of callbacks and the craftsmanship. And this, he was like 19 at the time, and the work is impressive. Any of those, but the one that obviously got me down or sent me down that path was early Eddie Murphy.
All right, guys. Well, so that will take us into to the next little part of the podcast. That is called press conference. For those of you new who are watching, if you ever watched one of the greatest comedy shows ever, Whose Line Is It Anyway? The great Canadian himself, Colin Mockery, would grab a podium and announce that he is holding a press conference, but he would not know what exactly he is announcing. But the rest of the panelists would know what he is announcing, so they would give him hints in the form of questions, and after and a lot of time, or if the person ever figured it out, they would. Matt, Mr. Kearns, you made a clone of yourself.
I
Cool.
can't.
The
help it.
noise is lying.
Internet. Sorry, guys.
All right, cool. So, before we start, panelists, you all remember what Matt is announcing?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So Matt Knost, please call this press conference to order.
All right, welcome. We have a big announcement today. I'm sure you all are waiting with bated breath as this is about to come out, but I myself have been looking forward to this. It's been in the works for a long time. We've been working on this behind closed doors, and we're so excited to bring this to the world. So before we get going, normally you announce what's going on, but I'd like to take questions first to get a sense of where the room is with the understanding of what we're here to do today, because this is groundbreaking. So first question, please.
Cody?
Yeah, Cody.
Hi, this is Cody Newberry with CanadaSucks.com. Just a real quick question for you. Do you think this is the smartest move for your career path? Do you think you're going to meet some resistance with this move that you're making?
Well, the only person I'd be resisting on this is myself, and I'm fully on board with the change that is coming. So, no, I don't anticipate any resistance. And those that would stand up and try and resist, good luck to you, because you're not going to make an ounce of difference in my effort moving forward. Next question.
Malcolm.
Is this move to bring more diversity to the show?
I'm sorry, you cut off for a half a second there. I don't know what happened in the room, audio-wise. Something disconnect here. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yep. Is this move anything to do with diversity?
Is it a move for diversity?
Yeah.
No, I think to say that we're all diverse and different is to say that we're not equal, and I say we're all the same. We're all human beings. So no, this is not a move for diversity, and that's all I got. I'm trying to figure out what the hell this is. Next question.
Hi, Brooklyn Vale from the Cody Blows Hourly. My question for you: what was it? Was this something that had built up over like a span of a couple of years, or is it just sort of a one-day thing? At what moment were you like, okay, this needs to happen?
Boy, these questions are vague.
They'll get closer at the end of the time.
Yeah, I'm sure, but right now it's like diversity, distance. The simple answer to your question from Cody Blows Hourly. I believe that's the fine news gathering organization that this question was lobbed from. I'm going to quite simply say no. Moving on to the next question, please.
Oh my God.
Robert.
Sorry, hello, this is Robert Parker. I was just wondering if you think this is more of a PR move, or are you genuinely excited for this change? Obviously this will help with your image, but we don't know if it'll really help with what the purpose is. So what's the main purpose? Is this mostly a PR move?
What, the fact that I'm having a sex change operation? Is that what you're asking about? Am I right on the money?
I mean,
that, or
No.
ballpark?
Oh, you know what? It's
not on the wrong track.
It's in the next ballpark, not quite the one you're at right
It's
now.
on the next train track. You just need to
Yeah.
hop on.
So it's like a chicks with dicks situation? Is that what you're talking about? Next question.
All right, I think Sandy had his hand up next.
Oh, that's awesome. Sitting here spitting into my glass. No. Okay, so hi, this is Sandy Robinson from the Full Metal Trivia Worldwide Movie Games News. I just want to let everybody know that we're broadcasting live on the Trump Sucks Daily network. So my question for you is, how do you think it's going to go over to the main fan base when you make this change?
I think they'll be happy that we'll be more representative of who they are as a fan base, diversifying the genders that are represented. Closer? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, you're getting closer. Matt Kearns.
Hi, Matt Kearns from Hot Takes Just for the Sake of Having a Different Opinion.com. Do you think that the person that you're leaving this job to will be able to handle it?
That I'm leaving this job to will handle it. I thought you guys were now saying I'm replacing Roka with a woman or potentially changing Roka to a woman. And now it's me leaving for a woman to take my place.
No, go backwards.
How do I think people will handle it? I think they'll be up in arms. That's what I think. I have no idea.
Right.
I guess we'll
Cody.
see the public's reaction once it happens.
So my question is, how did Roka take the news? And are you worried about the backlash from his fans?
That he was replaced by a woman? I already guessed that, though, so that doesn't really count. I don't know why I'm guessing the same thing a second time, like somehow it's going to be magical the second time. His fans loved it. They all reached out and said, good for you.
Freaking right the ship.
All right. Hello again, Brooklyn Vale again from Cody Blows Hourly. The question is, will we be expecting more corgis per episode?
Oh, so Kristen Smith is finally taking the place of John Roca on the show?
You got her. You got her.
There it is. There it is.
You are the first person to get to actually to get us before we had to tell you. But yes, John Roca is being kicked off of top 10 to be replaced by Kristen Smith.
Will Kristen listen to this?
Yeah,
Kristen's listening right now.
She's in the live chat right now.
Well, then she already knows that a hobo will replace John before she gets a shot at that. Her baby has a better shot than she does. She has no shot at this. She is the lowest on the Smith totem pole in my worldview. So the fact that she replaced Roca, son of a bitch, Roca did something wrong.
Well, to quote Kristen herself, well, shit.
Oh, God.
She also said that she's only here for Matt, and then she followed it up with Kearns. So that makes so nice.
See, exactly. She knows she's
Does
not.
it piss
She's
you
not
off
well.
that her child is the uncle or what did he call it, Grandpa Roca, and you're nothing? Like she does not have any. She doesn't rank you high at all. It's just Roca.
I feel like
That's
it's
fine. Hobos of the world love me, and she is less than nothing. That's fine.
Believe me, if you guys got Kara on top 10, I think the views on the summit have only risen since Kara's been on the show, so
Cody,
could only help.
All right,
I'm sure
guys.
there's some sort of labor issue there. So
I imagine. All right, guys. So that takes us into to the next topic of the day, and that is the news. Normally, we'll be getting Matt's roommates and or just wanderers. So we'll summon Vinny and Kermit through the form of some sort of ritual. We do not have a goat to sacrifice today, but
the ritual of knocking on my closet. Yeah. Okay.
I imagine it's more so offering them Millers. So.
Jesus, yeah.
All right. So without further ado, Vinny and Kermit take us away with the news.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Vinny here. Follow me on Twitter at VinnyStallone76. Remember, guys, I'm busy writing the Ultimate Stallone biography. Check it out. It's going to be in your local Barnes & Noble by next Christmas. It's going to be freaking sweet. But I'm here, of course, because it's Thursday. It's the Day 3 News Roundup with Vinny and Kermit. So first up, we got that Spielberg guy. He's finally not doing the space pictures. He's doing a musical. And it's about the color purple, which is probably my second favorite color of the rainbow. Next, we got Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson. They returned for the Hitman's Bodyguard sequel. I didn't even know there was an original Hitman's Bodyguard. Hi, it's Kermit the Frog here. Oh God, I always take it over when the names get hard. Greg Kinnear. He's going to star in a new War of the Worlds adaptation. Or as everyone in 2005 said, Tom Cruise was in it. We're kind of just tired of this idea. Can we move on, please? Yay! Yo, what's up, guys? So apparently, because TV is dying, which I don't know, they apparently want to do 3 movies based on The Walking Dead. Why? Is that show even on television anymore? I don't know. I stopped watching after I know Stallone wasn't in it. Next, we got the Paddington 3. It's in development, but Paul King may not return. First off, don't know who Paul King is. Second off, there was a Paddington 2 and 1. Why was I not informed? Also, what is a Paddington? Next, we got Universal Pictures. They want to reboot Shrek, but they want the original cast to return. To which everyone in the world goes, how can that be a reboot? Next, we got the greatest news ever. If you're crazy, Willy Wonka movie's going to be a prequel, which I think is kind of impossible considering, Gene Wilder won't be in it. And he was freaking awesome. Forget about that death. Also, we got one of my favorite TV shows, even though Stallone's not in it, Breaking Bad, movies in development. Seriously, Hollywood, hit me up. Believe me, I know things about that show that not even Walter White knows. So, I could be, what they call useful. Also, Dan Edgerton's not returning for Kingsman 3. who cares, honestly? No one on this panel seems to react to that because no one cares. Also, we got trailers. We got Ugly Dolls and Mowgli. Wait, didn't they make a Jungle Book movie? I think I saw it on a plane once. I was probably plastered, but apparently there's a new one. Also, we got Greg Berlanti. He's developing a Rock Hudson biopic when he should really be developing a Stallone biopic. Also, Chris McKay, he's going to direct a live-action Johnny Quest movie. I don't know what Johnny Quest is. I don't know what Chris McKay is, but I know live action is what I live in. So that's it, guys. For your Take 3 news update, you can follow me again, Vinny Stallone, at Vinny Stallone76 on Twitter. Follow my good buddy Kermit the Frog, at Kermit the Frog on Twitter. Peace out, yes, obese.
All right. Well, thank you, Vinny and Kermit, for the news. I am going to go to our guest today, Matt Knost, first. I do apologize that we didn't have subtitles or some form of a script. I know that he hardly speaks English as it is. But based off of what you heard, what is the movie news that stood out for you this week?
The fact that the New York character thinks that purple is one of the colors in the rainbow. I think that's what stood out most to me. Say it's not the primary color, Mr. New York guy. So, Roy G. Biv, that's the breakdown of the color spectrum. And
if only he could spell that. Combined. Only he could spell that.
Go ahead. I'm about 99.9% sure that purple is not one of the colors on the light spectrum.
That's not.
There you go.
I have to explain my jokes.
All right, so yeah, what is the movie news that stood out to you this week?
It sounds like Hollywood. No new idea, so might as well just redo everything that you've already seen in the hopes that you will be a sucker enough to pony up cash to see it anew. I mean, did a reboot of Shrek? Why not just do a Shrek number 5? I don't understand that. The retcon there. The Breaking Bad movie is, I don't know anybody that's clamoring for that, but maybe. I mean, you get everyone back involved. It could be fantastic. Look at Better Call Saul. They can extend that brand. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. To sort of elaborate on it, the only way that I think that Breaking Bad movie could work is if maybe if you do it similar to Better Call Saul, where you tell the same story, where you tell a similar-ish story, but from a different perspective. Like maybe you do like a Gus movie or something, or maybe you do Jesse Pinkman, something along those lines. Cody, why am I wrong?
You don't want to hear Jesse Pinkman say bitch the entire time. The whole thing with Breaking Bad and why it works so well is they didn't stay on the network too long. They left when the right point was. They ended it perfectly. Just let it be. The problem that I have with this is I don't want to see a Gus story. I don't want to see a Pinkman story. Like, the way it worked is you saw a guy descend into utter madness where he didn't even recognize himself and his family didn't, and now you want to put it on the big screen. Well, I'm sorry. The series is already out there, and if you do a prequel, I don't want to see Gus build his meth, empire through the chicken joints. Like, that's why the show worked as well as it did. That's the problem I have. It's just cash grabs, and that's annoying. I think they should just let that one be.
Anything else for you, Cody, that stood out to you this week?
Oh yeah. I think The Color Purple is already a musical, so it's going to be pretty easy for them to adapt that. They've already made a run of that on Broadway and stuff, so that works. The one that kind of stood out to me, and it doesn't. With The Walking Dead, that's just idiotic to me. I think that show died a while ago. A lot of people did. Even the people that started reviewing that show stopped it because it was bad. But the Shrek thing is just stupid and confusing to me. Like, it's not that long ago that we just got the originals out. And now they just want to bring everybody back and say, let's just make more money. Great. I think they're going to do it like Jason and stuff. Like, bring him to New York or bring him into different places and stuff. And like, oh, look, it's Shrek. It's funny. The last one was not good. I mean, people sometimes don't like the rest of them, but I think Shrek 1 and Shrek 2 are really good movies. They just don't need to reboot it. That's idiotic.
All right, we'll go to Malcolm next. Malcolm, what is the news that sent to you this week?
I mean, Taron Egerton not coming back for Kingsman 3 surprised me. Makes me wonder what the plans are for the third one. But the Shrek news once again confuses me because, like, if you're rebooting it but you're bringing the original cast back, I mean, why not just make a fifth Shrek movie if you can bring the original cast back? And I mean, Willy Wonka being a prequel, I mean, yeah, it could be interesting to see what happens. If it's good, it's good. I'll probably still watch it, but yeah.
All right. So before we get to our next person, Matt, I know this is about the time that you have to leave. So once again, sorry, Matt Kearns.
No, I thought you were talking again.
No. Sorry.
You're calling him Knost.
Sorry. So, sorry. Like I was saying, on behalf of all of Take 3, I do want to thank you for coming on, and I know you had a really busy schedule today, especially. So, for those who do not know, where can the cool kids of the world find you?
You can find me online on Twitter or Instagram at Matt Knost, MattkNost, and you can find any shows that I'm doing or whatever else via those two. That's the easiest place to listen to whatever I may or may not be involved in. And thanks to all of you for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out. This was fun. Sorry I couldn't stay longer, but unfortunately I got a book out of here and go do another show.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get you on another time to debate. I know that there are some passionate debaters here that would love to take you on. But yeah, once again, thank you for coming on, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks,
Matt.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming, Matt.
All righty.
Wait, let Cody freak out a little bit on camera.
Cody?
About how happy he
Oh, that was fantastic. He ripped apart people. He didn't really rip me apart, which was great. I think that's one of the best things about Knost is he has that ability. He's so quick with his comebacks, and that's something that is very hard. That's if we were not peasants of the world of Take 3, I would have asked him, like, when did he start getting that comedy? But Brooklyn gets 3 questions. We get 1. We know the rule here.
Okay, now listen here. Calm your tits for 2 seconds. Whenever I brought on Winston, I asked 4 questions and then introduced the panel. Then it was like, you know what? I want to spread it out. So I'll ask 2 pretty straightforward questions. I'll ask the rest of the panel. Then I'm like, you know what? We haven't asked him about his stand-up comedy. So I figured, the stand-up question was like a no-brainer, but
sorry,
but
we're
yeah,
not worthy. I'm sorry, my bad. I will not step out of line again. I want to be back on the show.
Mom and Dad are fighting, guys.
I want to be back on the show.
God forbid I ask more than
Dad. We know what
2 questions.
Dad, we know what happens when you drink. Please, just stop.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry.
The best part is, in this situation, you can't tell which one is mom.
Which one is Dad?
Who is Dad? Who's mom?
Which one is Dad and which one is mom?
We leave that up to the audience watching to decide.
I imagine Cody is the mom because he
poll is going up on the Take 3 Productions Facebook page right now. Take 3 Productions Facebook page. Everybody in the chat, go vote on that poll. I'm putting it up.
Well, Cody is the manager. He always complains, so
To get it back on track, I
normally
have distinct honor of being the only Take 3 person to ever be roasted by the team of top 10 on separate occasions. So there's that. I had that to put on my LinkedIn page.
Congratulations! Would you like a medal?
You Brooklyn. I already have a medal. It's called the championship. I have the title.
For now.
All right. So, what is the movie news that's out to you this week, champion?
Yeah. So you guys already talked about Shrek. I mean, I don't really understand how you can be guys while having the whole original cast. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of a reboot? Just saying. A Willy Wonka prequel. Listen. That Charlie and Chocolate Factory movie from 2005 was terrible. No one 2006, whatever. No one gives a shit.
Brooklyn Bale Curse strikes again. Not even in trivia on a podcast.
No one cares about Willy Wonka's childhood. Even though Christopher Lee was his dad, no one watching that movie was like, well, yeah, I really needed to know. Like, Willy Wonka, like, I don't need to watch a whole movie where he's like, oh, I'm going to become an owner of a chocolate factory. Like, no one cares. Greg Kinnear starting the War of the Worlds adaptation. Here's the thing. I'm a huge fan of and I know it's 2005, actually, no, the Spielberg movie. That's one of my favorite science fiction movies, actually. I think it's a really underrated film. Personally, I think that's a really good update from the H.G. Wells novel, which is fantastic. If you guys are science fiction fans, I really recommend you read the book. It's fantastic. Honestly, and that's the thing, I'm assuming, this is no offense to Greg Kinnear, I'm assuming if he's starring in it, they're not doing a period piece. It's going to be set in 2018. And we kind of already had that with the Tom Cruise movie. I don't think we need another, all our cell phones aren't working. Siri can't help me with the aliens. Like, I don't need to watch that again because, no offense, Tom Cruise, Greg Kinnear. Like, it's, yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, I've never seen a Kingsman movie, so Taron Egerton not returning for the third one don't really affect me. I can't believe there's a Hitman's Bodyguard sequel happening.
So
like
true.
That movie kind of came and went. Like everyone was like,
very quickly.
That happened, and they're like, we need to make a sequel out of it. Unless Fred Savage is being read a book by Sam Jackson in it, I don't think I'm gonna care. Although now, if that does happen, I might go and see it, even though I didn't even see the first movie.
So I'm gonna be probably in the minority here. I'm actually kind of excited for a Willy Wonka prequel. I liked sort of like the dark and twisted nature that was the original, and I think you have a lot of potential to go off of. So I am actually going to go to Sandy next. Sandy, what is the movie news that's in for you this weekend? Are you excited for a potential Willy Wonka prequel?
No. I'm not excited for the prequel. I'm not excited for any of the other news that came out today. The only news that was kind of a relative interest to me, just because I was a fan for so long, was the 3 Walking Dead movies. But as I've lost interest over the last 3 seasons, like Cody said, the viewership is gradually scaled down after that. I just don't understand, like, why would you do it now when your viewership is waning? Why wouldn't you have done it at the peak of your, things, or just end the show when you should have 3 seasons ago? But other than that, like Malcolm said, Taron Egerton leaving the Kingsman franchise annoys me. It's where I first really got to know him, as an actor. So, and I like both those movies. Say whatever you want about them. I think they're campy fun. They're interesting. They're fun to watch. It'll be interesting to see what he does next. So I think that's I know he's got this this Arthur or this Robin Hood movie that's coming out. So and it looks all right. I mean, I've been seeing more advertising for it over the last little while. It looks okay, but we'll see. But that's I'm just amazed with the stuff that we didn't put down on the news today about all the shows that are going to be joining the DC streaming service and the Disney streaming service and the Star Wars streaming service and my streaming service and Brooklyn streaming service and the Red Sox streaming services. I mean, my God, it's getting out of control.
No one will watch the Brooklyn streaming service.
My streaming service would consist of about 3 shows. It would consist of Family Guy, it would consist of Iron Chef America, and it would consist of Whose Line Is It Anyway, both UK and the US version.
Brooklyn,
no Hockey Night in Canada?
Just the theme song.
Only on Saturday nights. That is
only on Saturdays.
Because Saturday night's all right for fighting.
That's right.
Drink.
Good Nickelback song.
Right for the top 12.
Oh my God!
Robert, what is the movie news that's in to you this week?
Yeah, the big thing that stands out to me is Taron Egerton leaving the Kingsman 3 project. I am a really, really big fan of both Kingsman movies. I don't care what you say about Golden Circle. That's a movie that I really, really enjoy and have seen multiple times. So I really like both of those movies. I'm really sad to see him go. If they do continue making the Kingsman 3, I hope they do it with Roxy, which is the character from the first film. That way you go into like a really badass, strong female lead. You get more into that aspect. So I really hope they take in that direction. And the other piece of news I wanted to comment on again is, as everybody else has said, the Willy Wonka prequel. I do not see a need for another story in this universe. If you are going to do another story in this universe, I would have had them do like a direct adaptation from the book. That's what Tim Burton's version was trying to be, but it wasn't enough. Because Johnny Depp was being Johnny Depp and Tim Burton was being Tim Burton. If you take it out of Tim Burton land and take it out of Johnny Depp land, and you just put that story from the book into the screen, I think that's a great hit and a great story that can be told again and modernized in a way that could really be successful. So that's what I would have liked to see. But I still really like these characters, so I'm still going to go see the movie.
Yeah. To comment on Sandy's thing. Oh, sorry, Malcolm.
To follow on from Robert's point, the other one is adapt the Great Glass Elevator. I mean, it's a whole new story, and
it's true.
It could be really interesting to see that one on the big screen.
To comment on Sandy's thing about the AMC Walking Dead, what I hope they do, it's similar to how they're treating like Sony's Spider-Man, is if they go animated. And I think what would be a fresh sort of take on it is if they do the black and white, but I'm getting a shakes of no from Sandy. I think it'd be different. And I feel like if anybody played the game, I think it was called Mad World on the Nintendo Wii, but it was essentially the same style as Walking Dead, but it was like obviously 3D, it was open world, and I think that sort of thing could potentially work well on cinema, but I could very well be wrong.
I know you got your hand up, Cody. I'll just respond to that real quick. They did the first, I think in the first season, they did, when the second season started, they went back and they did black and white episodes for, I think, the first 10 episodes. And they were really cool. My only issue is it's not about the fact that they might do a cool 3 trilogy movies. The way I've heard already, the rumblings of what they're planning to do makes sense to me. But like the whole thing doesn't make sense to me just because the series is in flux right now because so many people have left the show. So I just don't understand why they'd be making them. But that was my only point about it. But no, I mean, they can come up with a ton of great ideas. Who knows? So, Cody.
Cody, yeah.
Okay, the problem I have with Walking Dead, I loved The Walking Dead for when it started. I think Walking Dead was a great premise. I thought it started strong. But the problem is, they didn't do right with the amount of episodes that they went to because every show has a budget and every show has to spread that budget out. And like, if you ever saw Breaking Bad, there were episodes where it was just Walter and Jesse. Those were the main 2 in it. No, they didn't go anywhere else. The main reason for that is it was to save budget. So they do everything else. The problem with it, Walking Dead had too many of those budget episodes throughout it. Like, we're only going to focus on this group for this episode and this group on the other side. The problem is Walking Dead, Game of Thrones did it way better for them and way different. They were able to expand enough story to bounce around. I feel like they've lost enough fan base at this point. Put it in theaters. One, you're going to get a watered-down story that you can't bounce around that often, and it's going to be just other zombie movies, which is not what I don't think what the Walking Dead fans want, but it's not what zombie lovers will want either, because you won't have that character development, even if you pick characters back up that maybe have died off or maybe brought back. It would be really weird. I just think they should let it die and then possibly pick up a Walking Dead like spin-off show, but like give it to HBO or give it to a show runner that actually like won't overuse it in 10 episodes a season so they can get the most out of those 10 episodes. I just feel like it's a very bad cash move.
Right. So one thing I do see here in the chat from Allison Grindstaff is she asks about this rebooting of a 4400 show, and I am actually drawing a complete blank on the show.
Never
Has
heard of
anybody
it.
know this 4400 or 4400 or 4400?
I guess that's why they're rebooting it.
Yeah, well, Allison, you stumped us. We have no idea what you're talking about.
You win the Kevin Bacon game.
Hey!
I've heard about it. I've heard it.
So what-
I
so-
believe
so what
it's
is it?
called. I haven't watched an episode. I believe it is called the 4400. Though I think it's something to do. I think it's a British TV show. But I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Cool.
We don't have a Brit, so sorry, Allison. That's the one demographic we don't hit on this channel.
All right. So the question
Not
that I
yet.
have is sort of like a movie discussion. With the announcements of of Walking Dead and Breaking Bad getting TV series getting movies potentially. What TV show would you like to see get a movie? And I'll start with Robert first because he has his hand up.
All right, instant question. It's not an actual direct adaptation of the show, but I want a spin-off of Game of Thrones that can be made into a show. I want Robert's Rebellion. I want Robert's Rebellion as a TV show. So, for those who watch or don't watch Game of Thrones, 20 to 25 years before the first season, there is a rebellion in the Seven Kingdoms that hits the Targaryens off the throne. It's super complex. Cody's mad at me for one of the first times ever we disagree, especially on camera. But it is basically the setup to the show. Now, that's not because we already know everything that happened in that era. In fact, there's a lot that happens during Robert's Rebellion that we don't know about either from the books or from the show. That's just undiscovered. So it's young characters that we see older in the beginning of the show. It's many characters that we can get attached to and that we can still see killed or lived on. It's just very waters that haven't been discovered yet. So I want to see a spin-off of the Game of Thrones universe from Robert's Rebellion.
Yes, Cody. I know you're very excitedly waving your hand.
Is this a movie or a TV show?
Movie. I want to see a movie of Robert's Rebellion.
You're absolutely incorrect. This is the worst thing that Robert has ever said on camera. I've almost fired him as a client right now. Like, I am so upset with him. Because you know good and well that if they gave that to a showrunner, to a movie studio, that's going to be 2.5 hours, and it's not going to be a fleshed-out story. That should be a spin-off show, and you 100% agree with it.
You can make it a trilogy.
No, you don't. Stop. You would not get the character development. If you think, okay, Game of Thrones, an episode is, what, an hour? And you get 10 of those? So we're looking at 10 hours in one season. You could do so much more, especially what we know after season 7. There is no way you want to see that to be just 2 hours apiece. For 9 hours in one season,
I'll give you that. No, that's true. I see. Cody's definitely right. I want that as a show, not a movie.
All right, so
get along so well.
I'll pipe in right quick. I would love to see a proper Family Guy movie, although I think that has been announced or in development.
Yeah.
But from my would work well as a movie, just the way that they have the weird family that they are balanced out, where like one is always
What's
shit.
What's the runtime of your movie? What's the runtime? How long do you sit there and listen to meh, I'm fat and I don't like things and fight a chicken for 45 minutes? How long would you sit in the theater and watch that pile of shit? Please.
3 hours.
A standard comedy, I guess, would be 90 to 100 minutes. So like that's all you really need.
How long was this?
I'm not looking for like a 3-hour jerk fest. I'm
saying now comedies like Tag and stuff are pushing up to 2 hours. So you would sit in the theater and watch 2 hours of Family Guy.
I'd watch the runtime isn't going to stop me from whether or not I go see a Family Guy movie. I'm just basing it off of like most comedies run 90 to 110 minutes. But yeah, I think Shameless would work well with the roster that it has. I think you could flesh out a lot of story. And I really think and if you're going to talk about runtime there, I think you could easily get away with like 2.5 hours. And
Shameless is fine. I have no problem with Shameless. I just think Family Guy is like the dumbest idea ever, and that's nothing against you. Like, I just feel like that show. I think the show works perfectly in those 30-minute increments that you can go into different things.
But a
cohesive story would be so rough. just me?
They've done great runs whenever Stewie meets his future self in San Francisco. It's Stewie Griffin Untold Story, and then when they were fewer of the 2-part one. I think Seth MacFarlane has a good mind for crafting these stories, and you've seen what he's done with like the Star Wars parody, Blue Harvest, Something in the Dark Side, and It's a Trap. I think there's potential there. I'm just surprised it hasn't been accessed sooner.
Yeah, he's great.
Sandy, I know you were stroking your beard at the thought of Shameless. Do you think Shameless would work well in cinema?
Dude, you know that I like Shameless. You know that I'm on board with you about but it's a dumpster fire, man. It's like saying, hey, let's make the Jersey Shore a movie. I just can't see that movie getting made into or that TV show getting made into a movie. I mean, I guess you could, lots of characters, but I mean, they've shown in comic book movies that you can have lots of characters. I like the show, so I wouldn't be against it. I'd probably go and see it, but man, I don't know what it would look like. It would be something out of control. But you know what? I will be 100% honest. I'm going to completely screw up this question category, and I'm going to say, you know what? I want Hollywood to come up with. I want them to start hiring some new people, get some new blood in there with some new ideas. I don't even care if the ideas are good or bad, but let's start coming up with some new stuff. Let's start coming up with, like, you don't have to take an existing IP, and make it a movie. I mean, yeah, I could sit here and rattle off 50 80s TV shows that I would love to see made into movies, but I mean, is that? Probably. I watch a lot of TV.
I believe you. I'm not like.
Yeah, I don't know about 50 right off the top of my head, but I'd get close. But I mean, I want to see. We got so lucky with back in the early 70s with George Lucas and Brian De Palma and Francis Ford Coppola and Steven Spielberg and the guys like that came up, and they just had a new way of thinking when we got an entire generation of new movies and interesting movies to think about. I want that next group of people to come up and start doing things and making things a little bit newer for us.
To quickly rebuttal that point, Sandy, I think what's happened with movie culture itself is that we get announcements of these big blockbuster franchises reboots ahead of time, so that's why it gets sort of convoluted. But like when you think about films this year that have been phenomenal and original, you look at ones like Black Klansman, Hereditary, American Animals, ones like, what was that?
Simple Favor. That might have been a book. Don't quote me.
Game Night, Tag, like other ones that have been. They're not like reboots, rehashed originals. Cody. Oops! I almost broke my laptop. That was fun.
Screw this.
The main thing is the thing is there's no, and I'm not disagreeing with Sandy 100% because I understand where he's coming from. But we have so many original filmmakers and stuff. But you have to also see, like, as a person that helped run a theater for a while, blockbusters make your money. Like, that's the studios are able to do the eighth grades, the Hereditary, the Quiet Place, the Get Out, the movies like that. They can take risks, they can take chances, even though I think if the smartest person in Hollywood right now is Blumhouse, I think there's no smarter person in the history of the planet. I'm going to give you $10 million, and I'm going to pull in $200 million every time I make a movie with a great trailer and stuff. Like, that's genius. There's no question about that. But my whole viewpoint is blockbusters sell movies, and they're basically saying, what's the race to, like, studios now have the quickest to $4 billion, the quickest to $6 billion. The way you get that is with IP that you can actually stand on. And the thing is, that's why those Transformers are going to get rebooted. That's why Ninja Turtles will be rebooted. That's why do you think Illumination is DreamWorks and them are definitely going to bring back Shrek? It's because those are the big money makers. Venom is up to $500 million. And
200 domestic.
Don't like it. Don't like it. It doesn't matter. That's an IP that sells and you have to use. That's why Fox used Fantastic Four. They didn't have a good product, but if they don't put it out in enough time, they lose it back to the original writers. So the whole thing is that stuff sells, But I think there's enough original content out there that sells. But then I can't say there and say I don't like the blockbusters, because the blockbusters, like me and Robert talked about the other day, we flock to the theater. We like indie movies. We enjoy, like, I love 8th Grade. I think 8th Grade's one of the secret hits of the year. But I still love Infinity War. I still loved. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I didn't hate the last Jurassic World. It's because I turned my brain off into a certain way. But it's like, you have to see that stuff. That's what makes the theaters. If we just trusted indie and original content, theaters would go out of business left and right. There's no question.
Yeah,
and that's sad. That's sad.
And I 100% agree with you. I guess I really didn't explain myself as well as I really wanted to. I guess it's not original. There's enough original people out there that are doing like the small stuff that you talked about and stuff like that. I just want to see people take a different take on other things and make things that might not have been so original more original. Like we're gonna get Captain Marvel. We're gonna get we're gonna get Shazam. We're gonna get those movies. Take the Guardians of the Galaxy challenge and pick somebody that nobody's ever heard about and make a movie about it and see if it works. And I guess that's what I was really getting to.
Matt, I know you had your hand raised.
Well, first I'll just comment on this discussion that we're having, then I'll take it on back to the conversation started this. Doug Walker, who's a nostalgic girl on YouTube, who's probably my favorite online critic, he had a great video where he was talking about this, and the thing he said at the end of it, he's talking about, like, there's always peaks and valleys in film. Look at the late 90s. What were the only movies that were coming out? Disaster films. How many disaster films do we see now? Like, the thing is, movie-going audiences are so... We're these weird creatures that we like something for, like, a certain amount of time, and then for whatever reason, we just don't like it. Listen, we're going to hit a point where we're not going to get as many comic book movies because as a society, we're just going to, as a movie-going society, we're just going to move on. We're going to see everything we wanted to see. And we're going to move on to whatever the next thing is. The good thing is that although they're not as marketed, especially with the advent of the internet, indie movies are becoming more readily available to people who may not be able to see them, etc. And those are the movies and the filmmakers who, when we hit that point where comic book movies and these blockbusters eventually dip down, those are the movies that will rise up and will, it's just how it works. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but that's how it's always been. Look at the 70s. Most of the movies have these hard-boiled detective films. All this, we don't see those anymore because our tastes just change. We're weird creatures in that. Which, by the way, you should look up the video. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but Doug Walker was a great video about this topic. To get back to the topic we started with, TV shows. Well, Timeless is already getting a movie, so I'm glad about that. I really had it my way, and this is not going to surprise Malcolm. I just want a Flash, 1990s movie, which, yes, someone will debate me. The pilot was a 90-minute movie, but I want an old John Wesley Shipp, Barry Allen, who's been doing this crap for the last 20 years. I want to see that movie. I know I'm alone on this, but it's like they're bringing them back in the crossover, so it would make me super happy to see them,
Yeah, when they aged the superhero last time and put him on screen to fight Batman, to fight Superman, that worked out real well for him.
Yeah.
I don't trust the DC with an old superhero as far as I can throw him.
Which isn't really fair.
Well, considering, Cody, I'm going to assume that you've never seen the John Wesley Shipp series.
Hell
no
no.
offense. I'm going to take your opinion on this with a grain of salt. No offense.
Well, I'll provide the salt. I'll provide the salt. Oh, God.
Hope it's
So go ahead, Brooklyn.
Sorry, no, I would hope Cody Hill only has the finest of gray salts, probably the best tasting salts ever.
As of right now on the Facebook poll on Take the Depression's Facebook page, we do have a clear winner as of right now. Cody is the dad. As of right now, remember you can still go vote in that poll. That poll will be open for a while.
Dang.
Is it an open poll?
Okay, yeah.
It is not an open poll. I made sure to follow Matt Kearns' advice on the Facebook video to make it a closed poll on Facebook.
And it's my turn to say what TV show that I would like to see a movie.
I mean, yeah, like you had that opportunity. Like
DuckTales.
You just didn't take it.
DuckTales.
Oh God.
I feel like
Woo.
DuckTales as an animated movie would be a blast. It would be a great property to bring back. It wouldn't have to be long. It could be some mystery. That song is flippin' fantastic. So yeah, I would love to see a DuckTales Disney movie. I think it would be great.
All right, so with that being said, sorry.
Oh,
Malcolm. Malcolm. Okay.
I need a shower. Oh my God.
wow.
Malcolm, two things. One, I sincerely apologize for forgetting about you. But second thing, you gotta pipe up. Like look at Cody. Cody is the loudest person on this panel, and he gets turned to more times than a hamburger. So
You shouldn't turn a hamburger that
Well,
way.
maybe you should remember who
Ruin
you
it.
went to on the panel when, so don't forget people.
Oh, tell him.
Robin Shade.
Anyway, but
The champ is here.
one movie that one TV show I'd like to see a movie of. Most people probably may not have heard of it, but it's a great New Zealand TV show called Outrageous Fortune. So it's a really interesting show and just one that I really love watching. But I mean, there's a lot of shows I like to see made into a movie, but it's one of those ones which, whether or not they work, is the other thing. Because I mean, there are some shows which their style, if they change it up to make it a movie, like Family Guy and that, it can either work or it can fail really bad. But yeah.
okay, we're gonna try this again. With that being said, that's going to take us into our next topic. It is the theme today, with Sunday, November 11th, being Remembrance Day in Canada, Veterans Day, I believe it is in the U.S. Malcolm, is there? Do you guys have a holiday on this upcoming Sunday?
We don't, but our one happens in April. We've got Anzac Day, so.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so with that, we decided this would be a good time to talk about some of our favorite war movies. These are ones that sort of they come in surges. I find they don't. It's never really consistently here's a great war movie and such. So I am going to start with Malcolm because I forgot you the first time. What are some of your favorite war movies?
For me, one of the ones that I've just watched really recently for the first time is Saving Private Ryan. I really enjoyed it. I mean, when it comes to war movies, I'm not a overly big fan of it. I mean, for me, I like the fictional war movies better, like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. They both can be classed as war movies in a way, but but yeah.
Yeah, Sandy, as a fellow Canadian, what are some of your favorite war movies?
As a Canadian, I think that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Passchendaele, which is a really great historical movie. Go watch it if you get a chance. I had a couple here that I wanted to bring up and make sure that we didn't. Heartbreak Ridge is a great Clint Eastwood war movie. Hacksaw Ridge is a great Andrew Garfield and a whole whackload of other people movie. It's the movie itself is just a fantastic true story of one person's pacifism and how far they're willing to go, and it doesn't make them any less brave that they didn't hold a gun. So the first war movie that I ever really saw that I paid attention to was Platoon. Platoon is absolutely heartbreaking. It's just a heartbreaking movie to watch, but so emotional. So those are the three that I would recommend to people all day long.
Yeah. We'll go to Cody next. Cody, what are some of your favorite war movies?
War movies, I mean, you can take it a bunch of different ways, like stuff that happens during war times. Like, I think, like, Lincoln has a huge, good story involving with the Civil War, Schindler's List. Those stuff are really powerful. I really enjoyed Fury from a couple years ago with Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf. I think Shia LaBeouf's probably one of his best acting performances, actually. That movie is so strong. I'm a real sucker for Braveheart. I will always be a sucker for Braveheart. I absolutely love that movie. And to stay in the Mel Gibson camp, even though a lot of people are not big fans of them, I love one of the cheesiest, most ridiculous, but I love this wartime. And it's The Patriot.
Nice.
We are the exact same people. Every single movie you just said, I was also going to say.
Yeah, I told you, me and Robert are in sync.
Get a
how we're not like that's, but
couple.
like Patriot with tomahawk scene, like when
So
his son
Damn
gets
that man.
killed,
Damn that man.
and he like shows up like running, and like after he axes him, and Heath Ledger, his son, just looks at him and was just like, oh my gosh, this guy goes to no ends. Because my dad was such a coward, he didn't stand up for when he needed to, and then to turn into that. And Jason Isaacs is probably the most villainous asshole in any series.
My God.
The quote that still sticks with me was like, "Your son, did he die?"
Did he
and I was
die?
just like,
Yep, same one.
what?
Oh.
So Mel Gibson is so justified in that movie. I want to do it as a watch along so bad because I absolutely adore that movie.
I will watch it with you.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite movie lines ever, and I'm with you, Cody. I love Mel Gibson. It's just when he's looking at Jason Isaacs and he just says, "Before this war is over, I will kill you," and you're like,
Yes,
yes, yes.
Yeah, no, and the Heath Ledger scene is so unbelievable. Not just that scene, but the one where they go back to the town. Both those scenes are so ridiculous.
Heath Ledger is so good in that movie.
So brutal.
And like for everyone who like, and this is an honest thing here, if you love Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, and you always talk about that, check out a movie like The Patriot. It shows that Heath Ledger was a fantastic actor well before The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, yep, absolutely.
Like well before he was, and that's I love that. I'm glad you talked. I was going to talk about that too because I love that.
Brooklyn,
movie.
you can have your show back. I just did about
the more discussion, the better. But Matt Knost, what are some of your favorite war movies?
Well, that's where I ran away to. I actually picked up my DVDs of them. First, I have MASH. I know the TV show, but the movie is amazing. If you like the TV show, check out the movie that started it all. It's an insanely funny film. It has some of the funniest lines I've ever heard. There's a great exchange where they're talking about I forget if it's Tom Skerritt or who they're talking about, but they're like, how did a deplorable man like that get into such a high-ranking position in the Army Medical Corps? And one guy just looks up from the table and goes, he was drafted.
Yep.
And then going along with funny war films, one of my favorite films, Stripes. I mean, this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I've always said this is the reason why I never joined the military, because I'm Bill Murray. I would just be sitting there while my commanding officer's saying stuff and just be making jokes and have to do like 5,000 push-ups outside of the rain. So it's a good thing that I didn't. The thing I love about Stripes is pretty much every character has an arc, even though like they start off as like the dumbest group of people you could ever have, and by the end they're heroes, and it's freaking awesome. And again, this is like top 3 Bill Murray for me. Bill Murray is my favorite comedian, so this is just like this with Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day. That's like, I mean, this might be my favorite Bill Murray performance. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah. So those The Patriot, of course, is an amazing movie. I mean, Patton is a classic war film as well. If we're talking about classics, so yeah, those are films.
Most of you will get this joke, but it's very obvious that Matt Kearns went to the Dance Get Balance School of how to pick movies. You just gotta find your DVD. This is a great this is a great movie.
This is a good movie, man. You need to see this movie. It's great.
Dance Get Balance, we love you. Your passion. You are probably the most passionate person about movies in the community. But Robert, I'm gonna go to you next. What are some of your?
I don't know that person. So I don't know if I should be insulted or flattered.
Oh no!
So I think war movies that I like the most actually happen outside of the actual like battles. So like obviously I like My Saving Private Ryan's and like All Quiet on the Western Front and like all the traditional war movies, but I more like go along the lines of people who brought up like Schindler's List and Lincoln, movies like Good Morning Vietnam and Zero Dark 30 and Imitation Game. Like
we ain't the same freaking people.
Especially Imitation Game. Imitation Game is a brilliant movie. So as much as I really like these battle heavy, like lots of violence and like Braveheart and The Patriot, like those movies I love, these are the war movies that I find more interesting and honestly more rewatchable because it examines the psychology a little bit more. Something like The Imitation Game where there's a spy in the midst and they are basically playing God, and when they tell, like if they reveal that they broke the code, the Germans will know and they'll change it right away, so they have to let these soldiers die. Zero Dark 30 is just incredible. Jessica Chastain is my favorite actress working consistently today. Good Morning Vietnam is just incredible. Robin Williams is great. So those are just 3 examples of movies that happen a little bit outside the actual like war zone, but still in a war setting that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah. So for my sorry,
I had one more.
No.
I completely forgot. A great war film that people should watch more and more, not just on the battlefield, but in the political arena. But Revenge of the Sith. Such a good war movie.
Oh my God.
I wish I could put up my sign, but it has all the questions for the debate tonight.
Don't forget Battle of the Five Armies, Sandy. It's a really great movie.
That's right. That's got there you go.
I will defend that movie till the day that I die.
That doesn't shock me.
So yeah, some of my favorite war movies, like Robert mentioned, probably my favorite war movie ever. It actually takes place outside of war. That is A Few Good Men.
Great. That's a great one.
It's a phenomenal movie. I actually had class
First time you've ever been right. First time you've ever been right.
Is it a war film? Because
it's based on what happened in
military court. Military. It's close, but it's not.
But some other ones. The first half of Full Metal Jacket is probably some of the best film ever. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the second half. There is a foreign film. I think it's called Tanks, but I could be wrong. But it's one of the first foreign films I ever watched. I think it's either Spanish or like Eastern European. I'm not sure, but it's one of the first foreign films that I watch, and I'm like, this is actually like really interesting. It's just like a new way of how to ingest film. But some other ones, Brothers is really good. Tobey Maguire, Jake Gyllenhaal. I think it's one of Tobey Maguire's this is like one of his greatest performances ever. And then like Sandy had mentioned as well, Passchendaele is another good one. And I think that was it. Those are all the ones that I wanted to mention. Was I correct in that movie being called Tanks, or am I crazy? It's like,
I found an American comedy from the 80s called Tanks. I will do more.
I think it's like mid 2000s is whenever it got released, but I could be.
I will be continuing looking for it.
All right. Well, fact checker Robert is going to be saying his name.
I'm on it.
So, So, man, Okay. That will change things, but no worries. So that is going to bring us into the debate portion of the round. So how it's going to work is, unfortunately, Sandy does have to jet here. So we are going to say goodbye to Sandy, but that does not mean that means that Matt Kearns is not going to buy. He has to work for his championship like everybody else has.
Figure. What do you mean? Cody sat out for like 5 weeks straight.
Your mama.
I'm going to call shenanigans on that. But
I have never sat out for 5 weeks straight. There's no
not
way.
not 5. He sat out, but not 5 weeks straight. So Sandy, I guess I'll take it over to you. Thank you for coming on today. But where can the cool kids of the world find you?
The cool kids of the world can find me everywhere. I am here on Saturdays with my co-host Matt Kearns, co-hosting Rhyme and Reason. You guys saw part 1 of Star Wars last weekend. You get part 2 Star Trek.
Star Wars.
You get part 2 this coming up weekend. So absolutely go and look for that. You guys can see me all over Full Metal Trivia, singles, teams, hosting, geek everywhere. Both Cody and Robert do a fantastic job over at the Geek League, and you can find me on Facebook and Twitter at srobinson1799. Thanks so much, guys. I really wish I could debate. I really want my title. So, but
it won't ever happen.
It will never ever happen. So
you will get it. You will get it eventually.
Cody, here's the thing. I became champion, so literally anything can happen.
That's actually true.
Brooklyn, I may have found the movie you were looking for. Is it called Dunkirk?
Is it called Hunt for Red October?
And I get to leave on a Robert Parker killer joke right there. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys later.
See you, Sandy. No, it's not. It's not Dunkirk. Okay.
It's not
also,
Dunkirk.
Cody,
No, the Bar Wars? There's a war inside walls. Was that the one you were referring to? Go ahead. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I cannot find it. I will continue searching Google, but
after this episode of Rhyme and Reason, the next 2 episodes are actually our 2-part Star Wars episode. So,
so you actually get a viewership on me. That's cool.
Because you know what the audience wants. Man, we need more Star Wars content because there isn't enough Star Wars content.
So let's give us a Cassian and a TV show.
At least they did Star Trek before they did Star Wars. Like you said, like you think people need music trivia and stuff. No one likes that shit. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
that one will blow back.
Cody knows that that's not true.
I'm just kidding, person. Don't cry.
With the exception of Mr. Kearns, everybody has competed, even your Red Sox loving ass. So,
and I keep getting made fun of every time I turn around, but. Can you defend this tonight, right now, where we're sitting, that I was a first-time competitor, that Jim Green solely wrote that match, and it was supposed to be players that have already played in a match. They were not standard debuting players. Debuting player questions. Admit it live. Okay. And I still scored 4. And after we went off the air, I still would have got 6 points, which I watched your thing. Some people don't even get that close. So please. I'm done with your disrespect and hate. I at least showed up in yours and gave your guys' viewer contact. You know what, Brooklyn? I just took off the bell. I'm taking off the bell. I watch every one of your shows, but you're disrespectful. I'm not. The bell's coming off. And it's going to Rhyme and Reason.
Yay! More viewers.
November the 8th, 11:38 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Cody crushed my heart in more ways than he could ever by simply moving his hand, pressing with his index finger, and then moving the mouse again. My world has been torn upside down.
Wow.
I hope Cody you do realize that if you take off the bell for take 3, take off the bell for all of your shows. So
okay, well, guess what? I'm going to go dislike everything that you've ever posted.
Fine.
Thanks, Dad.
Join the list of haters that are on my show. There's a lot of them.
Are there really?
Well,
versus Canadian Nightmare. Well,
you have to, Robert. To make a long story short, you got to remember where Jukebox Trivia all started. So
Fair, I'll give you that.
With that being said, let's get right into the debates.
That's so
Matt,
true,
since you are the champion first, Cody, can you at least have like the politeness to like get off your phone?
Oh, I'm disliking videos. I'll be right back.
God.
I'm just kidding. I can't do
Man.
that because it's part of my own product. I can't do that.
The guy's like a 5-time champion. You know,
he's definitely dad.
He's
definitely dad.
I'm 2-time champ, 6-time defending. A 7-time defending, and I lost it last week. So tonight I'm going to be the 3-time champ.
Okay, so let's haul everything in here. Let's gather our thoughts. Matt, since you are the champion, I'll get you first to pick between. Well, we'll get you to pick either hearts, diamonds, spades, or clubs.
What the
world? We're going cards. Spades.
Okay, so spades is going to be Matt Kearns. Then we'll go to Cody next.
Give me diamonds.
Okay, and that it means Malcolm, hearts or clubs?
I have a big hat, so I'll go hats.
Okay, so that means Robert gets clubs. Wow, this worked out really well. Cody and Kearns are facing off, and Robert and Malcolm are facing off next. I shit you not. That is literally the order that I wrote them down, and that's how you guys picked them.
The funny thing is, I saw you smile as soon as I picked mine, and I was just like, "Yep, it's me and Kearns. This is going to be fun." Okay.
See, here's the thing: if I lose, I'm glad I'm losing to a former champ.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Preview for future movie battlegrounds match.
Yeah, Malcolm and I are facing movie battlegrounds soon.
Is this show just for plugging our other things? By the way, guys, Rhyme and Reason, Part 2 on our Star Trek discussion drops Saturday. Check it out. Also, Second Look coming back in December. Check it out.
Alrighty, so because Matt is the champion, he will battle second, but that means that Malcolm and Robert are going to battle first. Malcolm, since you are the more experienced competitor, pick question 1, 2, 3, or 4.
3.
Okay. All right. So for those of you who don't know how the rules are, they work like this. It's essentially a speed round debate. If you answer first, you will ask or you will go first. It'll start off with a 20-second opening followed by a 15-second rebuttal. So in this instance, whenever Robert and Malcolm are debating, myself, Cody, and Kearns will judge. When it's those two, it'll be the other 3. So with that, once again, guys, your question is, and keep your ears perked. Question number 3. What is the best movie about either the Afghan? Sorry, let me restart that. Question number 3. What is the best movie about either the war in Afghanistan or the war in Iraq?
Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30.
I don't know any other ones based on
There's tons.
Oh my gosh.
In his defense, his country hasn't participated in it.
That's true. That's true.
I can switch I'm okay switching my answer if he wants Zero Dark 30.
I don't know. Have we ever had this happen before?
I give you respect for wanting to battle Zero Dark.
I'm just saying that because I know other options.
I will. In this
you cut out there, but
yeah, what did you say?
I'll leave it. I'll leave it up to Malcolm. Malcolm.
Well,
Robert has offered to take Zero Dark 30 off of the table.
I'm going to take the option I see in the chat. 3 Kings.
Okay. So 3 Kings is going up against Zero Dark 30. Robert, since I heard you first, you have 20 seconds. Time begins whenever you start talking.
Zero Dark 30 is Catherine Bigelow's best movie. It's one of the most haunting movies you'll ever see. Jessica Chastain, Chris Pratt, really every single performer in that entire film. There's torture scenes, interrogation scenes. It leaves you uneasy watching. It's oddly patriotic. It's one of the most captivating films I've ever seen. It's got a long runtime, but it goes by like that. Three Kings is really overrated. Mark Wahlberg is terrible in that movie.
All right, so we move on to Malcolm. Malcolm, you got 20 seconds. Time begins whenever you start talking.
With 0 out of 30, it's one that's very overrated, and like Jessica Chastain's the only really notable person in there. A lot of them are former TV actors and not really well known. In Three Kings, you got Mark Wahlberg, you got George Clooney. You've got a lot of great actors.
Patented Chris Clark method, ending a couple seconds early. We'll see how that pays off. Robert Parker, you got 15 seconds. Time begins whenever you start talking.
Three Kings has a more recognizable cast. It is not better performances. 0 Dark 30 has Jessica Chastain, Chris Pratt, Jason Clarke, Joel Edgerton, Kyle Chandler, Mark Strong. Those 6 combined are a show-stopping cast. Every single one of them has the performance of their career. Three Kings, it's a lot of people sleepwalking through that movie. It's more recognizable, but it's not a better film.
Time. Jury, let the record stand that the last sentence said by Robert will be stricken off the record.
Don't worry.
Stricken.
Right. Stricken. Malcolm, you got 15 seconds for rebuttal. Time begins whenever you start talking.
Three Kings is by far greater than 0 out of 30. 0 out of 30 is pretty much just the rehashing what you already know happened but prior. It was just long and boring.
Time. All right. I'm gonna go out of the way here. Robert, you won. Your rebuttal could have been better, but your opening was superb. Yeah, Malcolm, I'm really sorry. I think it might have been just like the question itself and like just your knowledge of the source material. So unfortunately, I do have to give my point to Robert. Mr. Kearns, who had the better argument?
Well, first I'll agree with you. Rob's rebuttal, I kind of heard a lot of just repeat from his opening, like just restating the cast and everything. Also, this is nothing to do with my decision process, but you ever seen a movie called Warrior? That is Joel Edgerton's career-defining role. Just saying.
I didn't say career-defining. I said...
Well, best career-defining, whatever you want to say. Regardless, Rob had the better overall. Malcolm was just backed into a corner fighting someone who knows a film really well compared to, no offense, Malcolm, I'm not even sure if you've seen Three Kings.
Honestly, I knew I was going to lose it because, as I said in the discussion, the only real war movie I've seen is Saving Private Ryan, which did not fit in these categories. So.
Yeah.
Right. So, Cody, unfortunately, it was not count based on the arguments provided. How would you have swayed?
They both did two things I hate. They did overrated, and they said, because that's just basically your opinion, saying this movie is overrated. That doesn't help you in an argument. Because just because you think it's overrated doesn't mean it's actually overrated. And they just listed actors from IMDb or wherever, like rolled down of the cast, and I don't like that either because that doesn't tell me anything about the actual movie. That just tells me it's star-studded, but is it actually a good movie? Because Valentine's Day and New Year's Day has a star-studded cast. Those movies are dog shit.
He's got a point.
That means nothing. But, yeah, Robert takes this. Again, I think Malcolm was shot in the foot at the start of the race, and Robert just passed him. And it's like Captain America, on your left. He just kept passing because there's nothing he could do. He hasn't seen Three Kings, so it couldn't help him.
All right, so, Robert does advance into the final. He'll be taking on the winner of champion and former champion, Cody and Matt Kearns. So, Matt, because you are the champion, question number 1, 2, or 4?
Number 2.
Number 2. This is of any of the questions. This is the one that I wanted to hear. I'm gonna wait for Robert to come back for this one. Quick into the chat. Probably. This is probably his. Oh, no, he just got water.
I figured.
You-
I'm sorry, I had to refill my water bottle. I'm so sorry.
No, sorry. We thought we were going. We thought you were going for like your 7th or 8th or like your 9th meal of the day.
I was genuinely gonna make popcorn before we started the debate.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's not, you know.
I genuinely was gonna.
What can you do? Oh my God, that's
All right.
That's
So-
hilarious.
question number 2, and then like I said, this is the question that I wanted debated the most. So once again, guys, keep your ears perked. And the question is, what major war has the best films based off of?
World War II.
World War II? Cody, I'm going to give you a 5 count.
That's fine. That's fine.
5.
So okay,
4.
base war is like Afghanistan's war. Can I just pull that,
2.
or is like
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do
Well,
I'll do that one.
I'll have
That's
that.
fine.
Okay, not the battle that I was expecting, but I am genuinely
Yeah.
curious.
I was
So-
thinking. Never mind, sorry.
Oh yeah, we'll say that for later.
Yeah.
Matt Kearns, you have 20 seconds to open. Time begins whenever you're talking.
When you look at the history of film, World War II, kind of since the end of that war, has been making fantastic movies. For generations it has spread. We already talked about on this panel, Saving Private Ryan, Bridge on the River Kwai, Patton, Schindler's List, to just name a few. World War II is a war that has so many different facets to it that it makes really interesting war films.
Time. Perfect timing there. That does not garner you bonus points, but it does garner the appreciation of the debate the debate master. So, Cody, you have 20 seconds for your opening. Time begins when you're talking.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's an oversaturation of World War II movies. There's a lot that are actually really good movies, but there's a lot that have brought down the genre to a lot. I think the Afghanistan war has so much more impact of today's society because there's so many people that had to deal with the problems that are engaged in war and the pain, like American Sniper, Zero Dark 30, those movies that are psychological, that see disaster that is affected on so many people.
Time. All right. Matt Kearns, you have 50-second rebuttal. Time begins whenever you're talking.
Oversaturated or not is not what we're debating. We're debating the fact that World War II, throughout the history of film, has brought us so many more greater war films than the Afghan War. Again, I don't need to name them again. World War II, again, just looking at World War II has been taken on so many different angles, from doctors to people on the battle to the people making the war. It makes interesting war films.
Time. All right. Cody, 15 seconds. Time begins whenever you start talking.
When you release a lot of World War II movies, there's a lot of good movies, but there's a lot of oversaturation and a lot of bad movies. That's the problem with it. They're not cohesive. They're not all great. But Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Lone Survivor, Jarhead, these movies go into the psychological of these characters that had to deal with, honestly, a tragic event that wrecked their entire life and caused many of their deaths.
Time. This is really fucking close.
That's really tough.
Robert, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Shit. I think both of their openings were really, really, really solid. Where I'm gonna go is the rebuttals, and I think, to me, I think Cody had a better rebuttal. I think Matt got a little bit lost up in saying, I don't need to say them all again. Like, that's just like a personal thing. This is so fucking close, but I'm gonna go with Cody based on the rebuttals. I think Cody had a stronger rebuttal for, like, not only why the Afghani war, but also why not World War II. Like, I think he brought a new point there. So that's really tough, but I'm gonna go Cody.
Malcolm, I'm gonna go to you next.
Yeah, this is really so close. I'm actually giving the edge to Matt because like he brought up the points of like that there's different facets and different area people that you can follow in these movies that with Cody's I mean it may have just been me, but it sounded like he repeated himself a little bit in the battle, like really he brought up the oversaturation of World War II movies with good or bad in both, and that might have hurt it a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, so here's where I'm at. Matt won the opening. Cody won the rebuttal. Here are my reasons why. Cody lost the rebuttal. He started off by doing one thing that I hate, which is I can't believe that I'm saying this, which shows a lack of confidence in the point that you're making. You need to be confident at it right out of the gate. So when you open with I can't believe saying this, but he made up for that in having the psychological aspect of these more modern movies. What won it for me for Matt in the rebuttal is how he really emphasized the war on how there's different perspectives and how you can tackle World War II, how there's just a plethora of films. So it's really up against those. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go with Cody, and here is the reason why. What I wanted to hear in Matt's because Cody mentioned the oversaturation of World War II films. If Matt even just got in like one bad Afghani war film, like it's just if he got in a couple, just like where essentially that thing applies to all the wars, not just World War II.
God damn it! This is This was a great debate.
It's literally like
a good debate. I lose.
As somebody that loves debate, I can't argue with anybody on the ruling.
I can't either. That's the thing.
I see both sides, and I've never won. That's like a 5-minute round debate. Like you have to spread that out. But like I've never had it brought to me as strong as Matt, and I hate that was the thing. But again, if you would have won, I would have been like, fair enough.
Yeah, same here. Like
literally like as I was going on, I was like, okay, Cody got a point here.
What did you want to be debated? What did you think was going to be
Vietnam?
I was very surprised Vietnam didn't get tackled.
Vietnam, Deer Hunter, Apocalypse Now.
The only reason why I did that is I wanted to separate it as far as I possibly could. And the reason why I said I hate that I'm saying this because World War II has affected so many people. Like it has it's probably the hardest time in history to put the film. That's why I was like, it's going to come out like awful, but let me cover that. And that's why I covered it. But I get your totally get your viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I went with World War II simply for what I fought in my opening, which is just like when you look at, and again, it's difficult to say because again, World War II happened in the 1930s and 40s, and the Afghan War happened in the 2000. But like when you just look at like the history of film, which again, that was a great fight for me. The reason why I didn't start listing stuff is because I know myself in these debates, and that's honestly the one pet peeve I have is when people just start listing movies and not talking about the genre or something. Like you're talking about like why sci-fi is the best genre, and you just sit there and you list Star Wars and Star Trek and Blade Runner, and I'm like, well, fucking talk about. But that was a great debate. I
do apologize if I made the wrong choice. I tried to.
It could go either way.
I tried to vocalize my opinion as much as I could and sort of break down like my thought process.
Yeah, that's how I. Yeah, that's how I judge too.
Come on, we all know you were going Cody.
That's not true. That is
kidding.
Not true.
I'm kidding. I'm messing.
He doesn't want to face me.
I'm messing. No, that was again. That's literally. I can't be mad that this isn't one of those cases where it's like, what the fuck?
The funny thing is how we started debates and where Kearns is now. I'm terrified if he ever wants to get in any debate ever. He has risen so where he used to be like, this is who the best is, and that's who the best is, and I'm just like, now he's just like, rip your throat out, and like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, man. You made a very valid point, and I can't argue with you on this one.
All right,
I'm
so
gonna get
let's move on here. Let's move on here to the championship. So we have Robert taking on Cody. Manager.
Ooh, father versus son.
Manager versus Robert. So Cody, because you are the former champion, I will let you pick question number 1 or question number 4.
1.
Okay, so Malcolm and Matt, you are going to debate question number 4 as the horses arse round. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
Name for that? Like,
no, that is the name we'll be using. It's sort of an homage to. Anyways, an homage to something at home. Anyways, so your question, gentlemen, keep your ears perked.
For me and Cody.
Question, yeah, for you and Cody.
Oh, that means it's close in.
Okay, so question number 1 is: other than Tom Hanks, what is the best performance in Saving Private Ryan?
Vin Diesel.
I heard Vin Diesel from Cody first.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Can I hear that question again?
Other than Tom Hanks, what is the best performance in Saving Private Ryan?
Okay.
I get this question.
This is so tough because I'm between 2. Flip a fucking coin.
I'm going to give you 5 counts.
Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore. Okay, so we have Vin Diesel versus Tom Sizemore. Cody, I heard you first. You have 20 seconds. Time begins whenever you start talking.
Hold on. Tom Sizemore?
Mm-hmm.
He's in the movie.
I know, I just need to form a reference before I debate.
Ooh, Malcolm's bringing out the hat. This is serious.
Guys, I'm not seeing Tom Sizemore in this movie.
Oh yeah, he is. He's Sergeant Horvath.
He's who?
Sergeant Horvath.
He's in
the company that goes to save Private Ryan.
It says right here, IMDb, Tom Sizemore, Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. This will be a terrible debate if I can't see the guy's face.
I don't know if you can see my screen.
I don't think he looks like that in the film, but...
Well, there was him in 2010, but...
Malcolm just picked the one where he's wearing a hat.
Studies have shown that people are 27% more recognizable if they're wearing a hat.
Is that true?
Okay. Vin Diesel in Saving Private Ryan goes from a hard ass that tries to control the company and tries to be that tough guy in the group to literally showing what war does to you and caves you into it. Tom Sizemore just fills into the company. He just goes along with the crew, and that's just not what you need in that emotional of a character to compete with Tom Hanks in that. Vin Diesel actually shows heart and range that hasn't been shown really since another movie. He's literally gets shrunken down to a little child.
Time. All right, 20 seconds opening from Robert. Time begins whenever you start talking.
Vin Diesel's character is one-dimensional. Tom Sizemore is multifaceted. Tom Sizemore's character is the perfect foil to Tom Hanks's character. You don't get the emotion of Tom Hanks's character without that opposite, without that foil of Tom Sizemore. You don't see the passion and the understanding and the drive to try to save every man at the company from Tom Hanks. You don't see that reasoning, that motivation without Tom Sizemore being there as well.
Time. All right. Okay, 15-second rebuttals. Time begins whenever you start talking, Cody.
I don't think Tom Sizemore is even the one to go against Tom Hanks that much. He has some great moments and he tries to do that, but again, he falls under the wagon. Vin Diesel is being not one-dimensional. He's literally strong as this guy that thinks he can take on the world, and then war literally shrinks him down where he can't go on. He's scared to see what goes on beyond war.
Okay. 15-second rebuttal from Robert. Time begins. Never say done.
If you're going to go with the character who war changes them the most, you should have gone with Upham, not Vin Diesel. Now, if you're looking at Tom Sizemore, this is the character that is the perfect role. The emotional resonance of the film, which is Tom Hanks's character, would not be as profound without Tom Sizemore there backing up and reflecting that emotional journey.
Time. All right. Well then, Robert bringing it to the former champion. Very impressed considering he's been out of the game for a little bit. All right, let's go to Malcolm first.
Yeah, this was a tough one. But I think just by a slim margin, I think Robert had it. He seemed to get a little bit more about his character in there in the time.
This is like five rounds in a row. Sandy is off the limits. It's now Malcolm. Malcolm hates
I'm gonna go next. I'm just trying to
I love you.
here.
I love you. I love you.
Shut up, Robert. Turn this damn car around.
Sorry, Dad.
Okay, so let's talk it out here. So what I gathered from Cody's rebuttal, or from Cody's just general argument, is that this is Vin Diesel's best performance and how it is transformative. It is different. How he is gone to be this masculine macho person, and how they're shrunken down. With Roberts, I heard Tom Sizemore and how he is essential to Tom Hanks, and how you don't get Tom Hanks's great emotional performance without Tom.
Plus, both their names are Tom. So.
Although Robert had a really good rebuttal, I'm going to give my point to Cody because I wanted to hear more. I wanted to hear from Robert. I think what Cody did really well is he got Vin Diesel to stand on his own, whereas Robert really drove home how Tom Sizemore's performance is important to Tom Hanks, but there's no way he didn't bring up any points where he sort of stood out on his own and just his own sort of character arc. So I'm going to give my point to Cody, which means Matt, it's all up to you. We either have a new champion or Cody is once again a 3-time champion.
No, don't put that on there because that's the last thing you want to hear.
So based on the arguments provided, who gets your point?
This was a really good fight by both of you. Listen, as much as it freaking pains me to say, Cody hit Rob with that Tom Sizemore is a good part of the team, but Vin Diesel is good solo. And Rob, and I get where the mindset is, but talking about his interaction with Tom Hanks, didn't really fight that. You could have gone with, that's why I have to give it to Cody, because that kind of just sort of, when I'm listening to that, I'm kind of you didn't quite fight back to that. You thought that it's a great performance, but the fact that you weren't able to really get out of that hit, and I freaking hate this. You have no idea, Rob, saying this, but I have to give my point to Cody.
I should have talked about Upham more.
And your new 3-time late night with Take 3 mini speedrun debate champion of the Full Metal and Multiplex fan trading communities of the world, Cody Newberry. I don't understand why I'm so emotionally invested into this. I think this is probably the best quality of debates that we've had since I took over the show.
I've never debated on this show. This is my first time debating.
I mean, Malcolm, I do apologize for having you debate in a topic that you're not the greatest at, but
Big sweet.
Yeah. Holy crap, Cody, I have to go to you. How are you feeling? There was worry about not getting the belt back. You were going to take a break for a while, but obviously that break doesn't really mean anything.
My break is shorter than Alex Warden's breaks from Fan League Trivia. Okay, my whole viewpoint is sorry. I like Alex. I'm just saying he was gone not that long, so it's nothing against him. I think he's a great guy. But my whole thing is that was the toughest 2 rounds of debate I have ever had to sit through, and either one, if you guys would have voted either way, I would have been okay with it. Leaving Robert's debate, the only thing I said is if they think that he just touched on Tom Hanks too much, I have a shot of winning that. That's how I would kind of sit it, because he had the best overall debate. He saw Saving Private Ryan way sooner than I saw Saving Private Ryan. I'm not the hugest fan of Saving Private Ryan, I will be honest. I don't think it's a bad movie. It just doesn't hit me as much. But when he had the best structure of debate, he just targeted the wrong things. If he would have targeted what he just said for 4 seconds and used that for the entire thing to explain a better person that was affected by war, he would have had me. But yeah, I'm go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the way Robert started his rebuttal with that quick jab, that if you're going to go this route, talk about this character, yes. I was like, okay, Robert probably has this in the bag, but I'm really sorry. And I always feel I feel awful because it's because looking back at it, because there's been I do watch these episodes back, I'll watch this episode again, and it's listening to the arguments again. It's actually hearing it again with a sort of a fresh take. I actually should have given the point to insert person here. But yeah, Cody, you were saying?
That's the thing about this. It's spur of the moment. You have to automatically make a point. You can't. You can't let it mull over. You can't take 17 seconds to try to decide. It was a very tough battle. Of all things, Matt should have won last week on Movie Mustaches. That is, if there's ever a round besides best Kurt Russell movie, we all just need to pack up and go home. This is why this debate is so hard, because you have to be multiversed to win it and to keep it. And I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else. It's just it fell in my lap today, and I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful, but for Robert and any other guests that come on that you can't be on, but any other guests that come on, they can't. The group that's normally here hates to announce me the winner, more than anything else. And again, this is not normal. Where Brooklyn sided each time, even if it wasn't for me, how his ruling would have been is where my kind of head would have been at too. So I respect that viewpoint on it. It was just a lot of fun. I love having Rob on the show. We're in sync the entire time of everything that we like. Even today when we had our one tiff, it's literally nope, you're right. Yeah, you actually made a good point. Fair enough. But that's just who we are, and that's why we do watch along together. That's why we enjoy watching movies together, because we see similar stuff. And I would love to have him back on debate, because I think, gosh, it was a tough round. Even Malcolm, that not knowing what the movie was, he still put a decent argument together for not seeing it. He put a decent argument to battle. So this is just going to get harder each week. As long as Brooklyn stays on the sideline and writes the question, I have a shot.
All right, so now I want to go to Robert. Robert, this is the first time you've done this format. When it first came on, this didn't exist. How do you feel about your performance today?
I feel actually pretty good. Like I realized as I was speaking that I was talking about Hanks too much and I wasn't differentiating Sizemore from Hanks enough. Like I think I had a really good opening. I think I had a really good job with the Upham thing. Like I think that was good. But I knew by the end of my rebuttal that if Cody had any notion of a good rebuttal, I would have lost. So I'm not like questioning the ruling. You guys ruled the right way for sure. Yeah.
Yes, I just have a question for Brooklyn. You always say the patented Chris Clark, and I respect that option, and I respect it. But Malcolm and Kearns have actually been on more shows consistently than Chris Clark. So could you just change it to the patented Kearns or the patented Malcolm? Because it's kind of really rude.
I don't end early usually.
Well, no. I'm just saying when you guys do, like it's more you guys now because Chris Clark has not debated in a while, and off screen I kick Chris Clark's ass. So let's just remember that. So that's all I want to do. And
Chris popularized the move.
I'll make a compromise, and I will say patented late night approach, because multiple people have taken that on. We are running a little bit overboard, but I do want to ask this question, Malcolm. To save yourself from a lot of pain, I'm going to give this to Robert and Matt, because this is a very open-ended question. So I'm going to give it to Matt and Robert. This will be for
this is for second place.
This is for second place. This is for shits and giggles.
Okay, sure.
So your question is Matt is no longer bridesmaid. I will stop calling him bridesmaid because he won the title last week.
Divorcee?
No.
How about we just don't call Matt anything?
Matt, you're not nothing. You're something.
Thanks, Mom.
Matt is one of my favorite human beings. Like, why did you just not call me anything? Okay, go ahead. Sorry, you can have your show back.
Okay, so the last question was, okay, so yeah, sorry. Question number 4 was, what is the worst Oscar-winning war movie?
Just any Oscar?
Any Oscar.
Any Oscar.
That's
any Oscar.
Okay.
That is.
I know one.
That is tough. Worst Oscar.
That is really hard.
So, for example, you could if you're doing like comic movies, you could say Suicide Squad because it has won an Oscar.
But that's not a war film.
Sorry, just give me 1 second to think more.
While you're thinking, I'll get it back up in the chat. Allison says in the chat, Matt, you're a Superman like Mark Riley.
Okay, thank you. Wow, I'm trying to think of bad war films. Because I can think of like bad. Don't even fucking.
What did you say, Robert?
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. All right,
Dunkirk.
Robert, you were correct. You got to debate it now. You have to debate it.
Oh, I will.
Oh, see, I can think of bad war films, but they haven't won Oscars, probably.
You'll be surprised.
You know what? I listen. It's late, and I kind of turn off the. Okay, I'm just gonna go with. It's gonna be when I say it, everyone's gonna freak out. But Full Metal Jacket. Yeah,
all right.
Just listen to my debate.
I think it's won. I think it's won Oscars.
Yeah, I think didn't it win? Let me just say.
Did it win the screenplay?
I mean, I can look. If not, I'll have to look for. Let's see.
You can.
No, nominated for Best Adapted. All right, give it. Then I just have to.
I'm just gonna type out my argument real quick.
Focus on Hanks.
I had a good argument.
Well, Brooklyn, how are you doing today?
I am doing dandy.
Good.
Yeah, we actually.
Wait a second. Did Pearl Harbor win any Oscars?
I don't think so. I will check.
Oh my gosh, if it did.
Abe, I want to welcome
my God,
Abe to the chat.
Oh my
Oh my god, it won Best Sound Editing.
All right, so
Pearl
Pearl Harbor against Dunkirk.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second now. Shit.
This
He thought he was
this
going to coast, and now he's got to work.
this shit got real.
Question. Are you looking for best? Like, is the Oscar thing come into? Does that have to come into the fight, or is it movie?
It's not most deserved of the Oscar. It's just worst.
What is so what is the worst movie that just so happened to win an Oscar?
Okay, I'm just making sure if they pull Oscar stuff, that doesn't have to factor in. I'm just making sure movie
That
itself.
just sort of cut down on. Okay.
All right, so I heard Dunkirk first from Robert. Very quickly, you guys picked your movies. Definitely wasn't long at all. All right, 20 seconds, Robert. Time begins, and I start yapping.
Horror movies are supposed to make you leave feeling roused and hopeful. They're supposed to be patriotic films. Dunkirk is the most cold, empty, distant, disgusting war film that's ever been made. The movie's color palette is literally mush. Pearl Harbor is a long movie, but it flies by, which is something it's very watchable. It's Michael Bay. It's a good watch. It's something that you want to watch for historical perspective, which is something that brings to the table. And
time.
Sorry, I thought you said 5. My bad.
No,
you're good.
I'll always give you the.
He does hand signals.
I'll physical the 5 and I'll verbalize the time.
Thank you.
Give him that at 1 second.
Cody, nobody asked you. You have 20 seconds. Time begins whenever you start talking.
Here's the thing, Dunkirk at least focuses on real people who were in the real event. Pearl Harbor, instead of focusing on the troops that actually died and sacrificed their lives at Pearl Harbor, instead focuses on this fake, terrible, overseen, overdone, three-way romance that no one cares about. This was the beginning of the end for Michael Bay as a credible filmmaker. Dunkirk has at least made a good film.
Armageddon was the beginning of the end for Michael Bay as a credible filmmaker. Just as you were talking about seeing the war from different perspectives, Pearl Harbor, this movie lets you see the attack and this war from a different perspective. Pearl Harbor has a really good Hans Zimmer score. Dunkirk has a terrible, terrible Hans Zimmer score.
Patented late night approach, ending a couple seconds early. We'll see how this pays off. 15 seconds. Matt Kearns, time begins whenever you start yapping.
Dunkirk lets you see the war from Tom Hardy's perspective in the air, from Mark Rylance on the sea, and from the troops on the beach. So it does have different perspectives. At least it focuses on real people doing real things, not Ben Affleck in a stupid romance and most likely his worst performance. This film does not celebrate America and makes it a joke.
Time.
You bastard for pulling Pearl Harbor as an Oscar winner.
I am actually... Okay, I'm going to go first. And I'm going to side with Robert. Because I'm going to side with Robert. And here's why. With Matt's, now, and you can give me all the hate in the world that you want. But with Matt's, I found I was stuck on, it was like this love triangle, and I didn't hear the war itself and how it was, like, you didn't tackle I don't know. Like, that's
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say things.
That is why, because you did the right thing in praising Dunkirk, but whenever you tried to shit on your film, you just shit on the same thing they did in the opening. That's what I got. I could be very much so in a minority, but I'm going to go to Cody next.
No, don't go to me. Go to me last, please.
Malcolm.
I was going to say the same, but one of us has to go now, so I guess I'll do it.
Thanks, Malcolm.
I'm probably going to agree with you, Brooklyn. I'm going to have to side with Robert on this. I mean, Matt, you did have a great argument, but you did focus on the whole like Pearl Harbor wasn't real people a little bit too much. But I mean, you both did good, but it's just really close.
Whatever.
All right,
I mean, I
Cody.
did talk about the fact that it didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was done because Rob wants to. 2 hours.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is an interesting one. When, again, not a shocker here, Robert and me agree, I don't like Dunkirk at all. I think Dunkirk is a very, very boring movie. It's very soulless. He's correct. But when I said, when he picked it, you picked the correct one for me, but now you have to argue it. It comes into this time period where people pick like the obvious choice. Like Pearl Harbor is a slam dunk win. But it was almost the same. Robert didn't learn from his mistake, but Kernsvik picked it up almost and didn't touch on more. Because gosh, if you would have just picked some of those war scenes in the movie, they made Pearl Harbor look like a carnival ride. I agree, it's the worst movie, and I think you did an amazing job debating. I think the fact that Robert had to play the defensive so strong because he knew Pearl Harbor was the correct choice. He just went in swinging, and I have to give it to him. But I don't think it's as far away as possible. I think if you would have touched in the bombs or like the cheesy pyrotechnics that Michael Bay throws off, like, or that they spent half the movie just focusing solely what a war movie focuses on that love story like that, but like driving that point home with more evidence than just the insult to America, I think you may have had it, but it was close.
No, yeah, it was. Ugh.
I'm glad I didn't choose this as a debate because that would have been so hard to pull.
This is one of those where it's like you guys picked the correct choice because literally all I'm thinking about is other things I should have brought up. That's where I'm more annoyed about myself, not you guys. I'm just like,
Pearl Harbor was definitely the right answer there.
Let's do that for a watch.
This is what happens when I lose in round 1 and I'm just into listening to debates. And he's like, oh, Matt, now you're going to fight this 4th question. And I'm like, well, shit. Let me try and get into the mindset, I guess. Hey, Brooklyn, I have a debating question for you. Hulk Hogan or John Cena? Fight Cody.
John Cena by a mile.
Hulk Hogan. I'll win this time.
I'm kidding.
No, we are approaching the 2.5 hour mark.
Yeah, I gotta head out soon.
Yeah. So with that, guys, that is gonna wrap it up today for Late Night Take 3. This is a surprisingly long edition considering we had 2 people drop out in the middle of the call. So I do want to thank the entire panel for coming on today. To our winner and now 3-time champion Cody Newberry. Where can the cool kids of the world find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Cody Newberry. That's pretty much all the social media, so don't look for me for anywhere else. You can find me on Wednesdays with Watch Along. We will be back this week, and Abe joins the call. Interesting thing. Okay, so you can find me.
Who gave you the Hangout link?
I'm the fucking boss of this channel. I just want to cover stuff.
You can find me on Thursdays on my favorite show on this channel. It's Late Night with Take 3, as I'm going to lose my belt next week to pick it up the next week. It's weird. It's awkward. I just like to be Salvation Army and give stuff away. Friday's Geek in Full Metal. Me, Robert, and RJ run that. Robert is killing as the question writer. And Rankum is coming back to Not Scary Things, so I get to be back on the show, and I get to talk, be the grumpy old man in the corner that disagrees with everybody, and I'm excited.
Yay.
Yes, because the monster mash is one of the scariest things ever. Matt Kearns, Matt Kearns, the former champion. Where can the cool kids of the world find you?
You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovie6 on YouTube, right here as co-host of Rhyme and Reason Part 2 on mine and Sandy's Star Trek discussion. Drops on Saturday. You can also find me when Second Look comes back, most likely in December, and always right here on Late Night always hitting myself in the head because I forget about good points I should have brought up on the debate because I take mini speed down debates a little bit too seriously for my own good.
But you know what? Though that's good. Like we have passionate debaters, like everybody here. Like I would like I always
I'm
love
not
whenever I
kidding
get to
you
debate.
guys here. Like this is just my own messed up psyche. When we get off this call, I will literally pace around my room and go, "Fuck! You should have talked about this, Matt. You should have done this. You should have like I do this because I'm messed up in my brain."
All right, Robert Parker, for coming on. Thank you for coming on today, and I really hope you do get to come back on more. Where can the cool kids in the world find you?
You can find me personally on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. That's my first and last name, no vowels plus ear. You can find me on the 2 podcasts I do. One with Zach Ford called Fireside Chit Chat, where we talk about movies, music, and other pop culture nonsense. Another one with Chance Ellison, where it's called Podcast Without a Cool Acronym, or PWCA, where we go through each episode one by one and review every episode of one of the longest running TV shows of all time, Phineas and Ferb. And you can find me doing admin and hosting duties here on Take 3 Productions, and admin hosting and question writing duties at Full Metal Geek.
All right, to producer, man behind the scenes, a news gatherer, a very what's what I'm looking for? A job that is unthanked a lot, but I do try to thank him as much as I can. Malcolm Godile, where can the cool kids of the world find you? Go.
You can find me being forgotten about the discussions on Late Night with Take 3. You can also find me on Take 3 Productions, where I host my show Rankum this coming week. Be doing Arrowverse characters. You can also find me competing in trivia on Full Metal and Multiplex. And you can also find me in Movie Battlegrounds in a few weeks facing off against Robert. And you can also find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust at Melkor.
All right, and person who just decides to hop onto the stream at the last moment because fuck.
Don't let him plug.
Abe, very quickly, where can the cool kids of the world find you?
Oh, thank you, Brooklyn. Great show tonight, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at AbrahamF25. It was awesome being here for the 150 minutes of the show. We had a great experience. Thank you to Matt Knost, Top 10, Boomaye. We love you.
All right, and last but definitely not least, I'm Laughing at Brooklyn Valley. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TheRealBK10, the number, not the letters. You can find me also on Take 3 Productions, running not one but 2 shows. Jukebox Trivia on Mondays, various trivia debates and podcasts or countdowns. Shit, I can't plug shit for licking the fuck. God damn it. This for the month of November.
This show has devolved a lot.
You can month of November we're doing a lot of dance offs and music debates. You go to Crown of Champion in December, so you could check into that. And I'm right here on Thursdays, Late Night with Take 3, do various topical podcasts. Next week, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but we'll figure that out eventually. I do want to thank Matt Knost for coming on today, taking a lot of time in the schedule to get to come on and have a great conversation, to roast pretty well everyone here on panel. So for Abe, for Cody, for Kearns, for Robert Parker, for Uncle Godile, I am the Black Man Brooklyn Bell. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you think that you could come on to this panel, you can't. I'm really sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, it's getting really late. We have to stop this now. Cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.
Drive unsafe.